Chapter 341. Luo Qingtong's voice rang out. You can choose any one of these items. This is your reward for following me. Also, as she spoke, she tossed the storage rings in her hand to them. Take these storage rings as well. Don't show them to anyone. There are many resources in the 9 Magi Mountain. You can take them all. With these few martial king realm experts, they could do whatever they wanted in the 9 Magi Mountain, except for some of the more dangerous forbidden areas. With these storage rings, they could take whatever resources they wanted in the 9 Magi Mountain. Luo Qingtong wanted to turn the 9 Magi Mountain into her personal treasure trove of resources. In the future, when the Luo family's Iron Army had fully recovered, or even reached a higher level, Luo Qingtong would bring them to the 9 Magi Mountain for training. In the future, the resources of the Luo family and the Heavenly Evil Valley would all be provided by the 9 Magi Mountain. They would no longer need to depend on others. Luo Qingtong's eyes turned cold at the thought of how old Master Luo had been mocked and ridiculed every time he went to the Tianyu Empire to buy resources for the Eastern Fence Army. If not for that, she would not have been so cruel to the Eastern Fence Army. Those people had really let down old Master Luo's previous efforts. Adding insult to injury, being ungrateful. All of these were enough for Luo Qingtong to torture them to death. Since they did not want to be humans and only wanted to be dogs, then they would be useless dogs. Master? All of these were given to them? The group of martial king realm experts almost thought that they had heard wrongly. Master said that they could choose any one of these treasures. She even said that she would give all of these Sumeru space spiritual weapons to them. The group of people took the storage rings that Luo Qingtong tossed to them in shock. Was this real? Was this a dream? The group of people imprinted their mental strength on the storage rings as if they were sleepwalking. Then, they were shocked by the space of a few hundred square meters. This was a Sumeru space ring. They stared at the storage rings in their hands as if they had seen a ghost. Such a huge Sumeru space ring. If any one of these rings were to spread, it would cause an incomparably huge wave. Now the few of them, each had one. No matter how strong and calm they couldn't help but pinch their own thighs. After that, they were shocked to discover that it was actually true. Oh my God! Normally, these martial king realm experts would not be able to come into contact with Sumeru spatial spiritual tools. But Luo Qingtong gave them such a precious Sumeru spatial spiritual tool. Master, what was her background? And these treasures? The group of martial king realm experts looked at the rings in their hands, and then looked at the treasures in the cave. In their hearts, they were even more in awe of Luo Qingtong. Master, don't worry, we will definitely protect these rings. Even if we lose our lives, this Sumeru spatial spirit artifact will not be lost. A martial king expert said with a trembling voice. He held the ring as if it was a rare treasure. Oh, that's not necessary. Luo Qingtong's voice was indifferent. If you accidentally expose yourself and are targeted by others, you can destroy this storage ring. Returning safely is more important. Chapter 342. To Luo Qingtong, these storage rings were nothing more than scraps left over from Tian Mingzi's previous refinement. Little Pig still had a lot of them. More importantly, she would definitely practice the inscription technique in the future. As such, these storage rings were naturally not that important. However, she still had too few experts under her command. It would be best if these martial king experts did not die. As for the storage rings, it was no big deal if they were destroyed. Just as Little Pig had said, these items might be rare treasures and priceless in the eyes of others. However, to her, they were nothing more than scraps that were slightly useful. Luo Qingtong was more interested in the real Sumeru spatial spiritual tool that Little Pig had described. As for these scraps, she did not really care about them. Mistress, the group of martial king experts were indescribably moved. Who would dare to say that their lives were more important than these priceless storage rings? Their mistress truly valued and cherished them too much. If they had pledged their loyalty to Luo Qingtong in the past, it was partly because they were forced to acknowledge Luo Qingtong as their mistress, and partly because of Luo Qingtong's strange methods and extraordinary abilities. But now they were sincerely submitting to her from the bottom of their hearts. They were willing to do anything for Luo Qingtong, until she no longer needed them. We are willing to die for mistress. The group of people suddenly knelt on the ground. Luo Qingtong replied in a low voice. She then waved her sleeve and said, "That's enough. There's no need to say such sentimental words. Pick one item from here. I will prepare to seal the treasury." Luo Qingtong naturally had to separate the inner and outer vaults like the royal treasury in this huge cave vault. The outer vault stored the resources from the 9 Shamans Mountain, while the inner vault stored the resources from the imperial treasury. Not interfering with each other could also serve as a cover. In the future, only Luo Qingtong could enter the inner vault. Yes. The group of people calmed down and excitedly rushed into the cave. They began to pick out what they wanted from the pile of items. After they had all finished choosing and left, Luo Qingtong raised her hand and directly sealed the treasury. Layers and layers of array lights lit up. Luo Qingtong used the treasures in the royal treasury as array cores and set up layers and layers of arrays. Compared to the overlapping and independent formations she had set up, the formations and mechanisms in the Tianyu royal treasury were child's play. The formations that Luo Qingtong had laid down were almost double-stacked formations, even triple-stacked formations and quadruple-stacked formations. These were all formations within formations, layer upon layer, extremely difficult to solve. If it weren't for the limited space in the cave, and the fact that the reiki of the treasures in the royal treasury could only support up to the 5th layer, Luo Qingtong could continue to stack up. For someone like her who possessed the eye technique, the problems that plagued spirit array masters and the balance of spirit arrays did not exist at all. She could always find the most appropriate point. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. After sealing the treasury, Luo Qingtong began to take inventory of the items inside. She wanted to see if there were any antidotes she needed. After all, even though the antidotes were hard to find, the treasury of the Tianyu royal family had been here for nearly 1,000 years. Perhaps she could find them. Chapter 343. Bang! Dongli Country, Wingei's city. In a secluded room in the corner of the Tianyu branch of the Empire of Qin, Luo Xinning swept the things in her hands to the ground. Luo Qingtong. Why are you always so lucky? Luo Qingtong's face was ferocious. Under the scattered veil, there was a wound that looked like it was torn by a ferocious beast, from her left cheek to her right cheek. Under such circumstances, it was completely destroyed by Luo Xinning's beautiful face. Her face was twisted with anger, like that of a ferocious ghost. Looking at the scar on her face in the mirror, Luo Xinning was even angrier. This scar was caused by the encounter with a ferocious beast after she was rescued by the imperial family of Tianyu. Originally, Luo Xinning had taken the healing medicine brought by the imperial family of Tianyu, and her injuries were already healed. It was impossible for her to not be able to fight back against the rank 3 ferocious beast. But inexplicably, just as she was about to dodge, the power in her body suddenly stagnated and disappeared in an instant. Although she recovered quickly, how could she be distracted in a battle? Not to mention that all her power had disappeared. She could not resist at all, and was sent flying by the brown earth bear. Half of her face was smashed. Even though she had taken the medicine in time, it still left a deep scar. Touching the scar on her face, Luo Xinning's heart was filled with hatred. She always showed that she was not inferior to Luo Qingtong, but in reality, other than her talent and strength being stronger than Luo Qingtong, she was really not as good as Luo Qingtong in other aspects. Even the face that she was originally proud of had been destroyed. And Luo Qingtong, she thought that the Luo family would fall this time, and Luo Qingtong would become a pitiful person without the family's protection. But now, the new Luo residence that she was so proud of was completely destroyed by Luo Qingtong. Not only that, her carefully planned plan with the imperial family of Tianyu to take over the army was completely destroyed. Not only was the army destroyed, but Luo Qingtong also took some people to the Luo family to build a private army. Everything made Luo Xianning angry and frustrated. She had schemed so much and even ordered her father to drug the old man and make him lose his cultivation, but she still could not defeat the entire Luo family and Luo Qingtong. That woman. Why did she have a better life than him? Why did she get everything? Because they were both daughters of the Luo family. Even God was on her side. Old Luo's father trusted her so much that he gave her the Luo family's trump card. Or else, she would not have lost so badly. At the thought of this, Luo Xinning felt as though her heart was being bitten by countless ants. That strong feeling of unwillingness and resentment almost overwhelmed her. But what she hated the most was that she could not do anything to Luo Qingtong. Even the only hope that the imperial family of Dongli could defeat the Luo family disappeared with the news of the army. Luo Qingtong had so easily crushed everything that she had spent so much effort to obtain into powder. Just as Luo Xinning was filled with hatred, a carrier pigeon landed in front of her window. Haha! After reading the letter, Luo Xinning was overjoyed. Chapter 344. Luo Xinning's smile was cold. The royal family of Tianyu had finally made a move. Or rather, the 7th princess and the empress had finally made a move. It was an elite troop of tiger guards, consisting of hundreds of people. They were all above the general realm, and many of them were in the martial lord realm. The leader was the younger brother of the empress of Tianyu, King Xiaowu of Fiji. He was the young genius of the Fei family, and the pride of the Fei family. He was at the peak of the martial king realm. It was said that he would soon reach the martial royal realm. It was like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken for such a troop to deal with a marquee mansion of an inferior country. How could the Luo family survive? Humph! Luo Qingtong, this is what you get for being so arrogant. Luo Xinning sneered. The power of the Empire of Tianyu was not something that ordinary countries could compare with. For example, a troop of tiger guards from the Empire of Tianyu was enough to wipe out the small and middle countries. Even the superior countries had to avoid them. What could Luo Qingtong and the Luo family use to fight against them? Her identity as the future 5th prince's wife was nothing in front of these Mang tiger guards. Luo Qingtong, after I strip you of your identity as the 5th prince's wife, what do you have left? I'll wait for you to suffer so much that you wish you were dead. Luo Xianning said with a sinister smile on her face. She read the contents of the letter again and sneered. Bandits? Luo Qingtong, how about I turn the show into a reality for you? You escaped death on the 9 Magi Mountain. You won't be so lucky this time. Luo Xinning sneered and threw the other letter in her hand. At the same time, an attendant rushed in from the outside of Dongli Palace. Your Majesty, great news. The royal family of Tianyu has replied. He wants us to be prepared. Tianyu's royal family has already sent out a group of savage tiger guards. When the time comes, they'll quietly kill the Luo clan. Other than Luo Qingtong, the Luo family will be wiped out. Good. King Dongli's gloomy face finally brightened up after reading the letter from his close attendant. Immediately send people to the meeting point, and provide them with all the convenience. We've been waiting for them for so long, so get ready to attack. Dongli King wanted to eradicate the Luo family for a long time. But because of the marriage agreement between the other party and the royal family of Tianyu, no matter how impatient he was, he could only endure it. Who would have thought that grandfather Luo would be so foolish as to offend the royal family of Tianyu and cancel the engagement for the sake of his beloved granddaughter? He had given them a chance to uproot them for no reason. As long as the Luo family was eradicated, no one in the Eastern Fence Nation would be able to stop him from carrying out his orders. Even without the Eastern Border Army, the Eastern Border royal family would still be the strongest ruler of the Eastern Border country. He no longer had the disgusting Luo family to constantly suppress him and make him feel helpless. King Dongli had been waiting for this day for a long time. While Luo Xinning and Dongli King were busy, Luo Qingtong had found 7 antidotes. Here they are. Luo Qingtong looked at the 7 antidotes in her hand and smiled. The treasury of the royal family of Tianyu was indeed a 1,000-year-old treasure. She had found all 7 antidotes in one go, and there were even more. What's this? Chapter 345. There was a letter in the brocade box where the Heaven and Earth Dragon Soul Herb was placed. Luo Qingtong remembered the strange old man who gave her the Heaven and Earth Dragon Soul Herb. Did he give it to her? Thinking of the strange words he said to her before he left, Luo Qingtong opened the letter curiously. She opened her eyes wide when she saw what she saw. A purple name card appeared in front of Luo Qingtong. The words Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin were especially large on it. Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin? Is this a letter of recommendation? Luo Qingtong turned over the purple name card and found nothing on it except for the words, Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin. But the material of the name card seemed to be very special. Luo Qingtong poured her strength into it and found that she couldn't destroy it. Why did the old man give me a letter of recommendation from the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin? Luo Qingtong looked at the purple name card and found it funny. She thought it was something special. She didn't expect it to be a letter of recommendation from the Holy Academy. However, this recommendation letter seemed to be different from the one that the original owner had received before. Luo Qingtong looked at the purple letter of recommendation from the Holy Academy. She could enter the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin by herself. She didn't need this at all. But maybe this thing could be used for an unexpected purpose? Luo Qingtong thought. Suddenly, an idea came to her mind. The corners of her lips curled up slightly as she put away the purple name card. Let's make elixirs first. Luo Qingtong's treatment was about to be finished. Then she needed to improve her strength quickly. For people who had abandoned their cultivation and started over again, their experience and comprehension were still there. As long as they had enough strength in their body, they could continue to improve and recover their previous strength. At that time, it would be up to them to make further breakthroughs. The medicinal pills that Luo Qingtong wanted to prepare this time could not be replaced by medicinal liquid. Compared to medicinal liquids, after medicinal herbs were refined into pills, their medicinal properties were preserved more completely, and the medicinal properties were condensed more firmly. More importantly, alchemy could draw in the power of the heavens and the earth. And under the support of that power, the effect of the pill would undergo a great change. Luo Qingtong's dough technique could completely remove the impurities in the medicinal liquid, achieving the 100% medicinal effect that only medicinal pills could achieve. However, the medicinal liquid wouldn't undergo any changes like medicinal pills. Alchemy and medicine refinement were two completely different things. Only after refining medicine to the extreme would one begin to concoct pills. It could be said that the end point of an alchemist was the starting point of an alchemist. Luo Qingtong's eye technique allowed her to completely ignore this step and directly start refining pills. This was an advantage that others could not compare to. Half a tael of sunflower wood, 3 taels of oblivion sea flower. Luo Qingtong added the medicinal herbs according to the formula. What she wanted to refine for Luo Qingtong, and the others were the essence increasing pill and the enlightenment spirit pill. If these two pills were taken together, they would be able to restore Luo Qingtong and the others' wasted cultivation as soon as possible, allowing them to return to their peak. Luo Qingtong wouldn't allow Luo Qingtong and the others to spend another few dozen years slowly cultivating their strength. These two elixirs were created by Luo Qingtong based on the situation of Old Master Luo and the rest. There were no rare alchemy recipes or manuals in the True Spill continent. Everything depended on Luo Qingtong's own exploration. Fortunately, she had her dough technique. As long as she used the right medicine, there shouldn't be a problem. Little Pig stared dumbfoundedly at Luo Qingtong, who was busy adding the herbs and controlling the fire. He was so shocked. This woman was actually refining pills. Alchemy. What couldn't she do? Chapter 346. Bang. The triangular furnace in front of Luo Qingtong was blown to smithereens. A boundless energy rushed out from the furnace. If it weren't for Luo Qingtong and Little Pig running fast, they would have been caught in the blast. Haha. Looking at the shattered cauldron, Little Pig was finally satisfied. So there are things you don't know. I thought you really knew everything. Little Pig laughed mischievously. Then I'm a monster. Luo Qingtong rolled her eyes at Little Pig. What's so great about it? She would soon find out. At the moment of the explosion, Luo Qingtong's eye technique quickly saw the changes in the fusion between the medicinal properties and the world's power. She saw where she failed. She would remember to avoid this place later. However, alchemy was really magical. Compared to alchemy, it was a completely different experience. The fusion between the medicinal properties and the world's power was simply ever-changing. If the medicinal properties were just a little bit off, or if the medicinal properties were just a little bit off, there would immediately be a mutation. Luo Qingtong was in high spirits. This world was really worth exploring. The alchemy books she had memorized in her previous life actually came in handy. It was really incredible. TSK. There's only one furnace left. Luo Qingtong frowned as she looked at the room that was full of holes because of her explosion. The furnace she used for alchemy was taken from the royal treasury of Tianyu's royal family. There was almost no alchemist in true Spill Continent. Those furnaces were mostly used as decorations. Tianyu's royal family also collected some, and most of them were rare treasures. At this moment, Luo Qingtong's left and right were about to explode. It seemed that she would have to buy more furnaces as backup. It would be best if she could buy a high-quality furnace. It would be great if she could find a furnace that specialized in alchemy. Luo Qingtong thought as she continued. After several experiments, she had found a way. She didn't dare to say anything about the other pills, but for these 2 pills, she was already 80% sure that she could refine them. While Luo Qingtong was refining pills in the Heavenly Evil Valley, outside Easternly Nation's Wengaze City, a group of people traveled day and night, and finally arrived at a dense forest outside Wengaze City. His Majesty has sent me to receive you. This must be King Xiaowu, right? King Xiaowu was indeed a man of striking appearance. With King Xiaowu's help, the Luo clan will definitely be wiped out this time. The personal attendant sent by King Dongli said with a flattering smile. As the Empress's maternal family, the Fei family had great influence in the Tianyu Empire. The man in front of her was the only brother of Empress Tianyu, and was highly valued by the Fei clan. If he could become a martial emperor in the future, his future would be limitless. Even the emperor of Tianyu thought highly of Fiji. Cut the crap. When are we going to attack? Fiji's voice was cold. His face was hidden under the armor, and could not be seen clearly. However, his tone was extremely impatient. A dignified peak martial king was sent to deal with the marquis of a small inferior country. If it wasn't for his sister's request, he would never have taken action. The Luo clan was not worthy of him taking action. It was truly a stain on his hands. As for the people of Easternly Nation, he didn't even bother to look at them. These people didn't even have the qualifications to stand in front of him. King Xiaowu, please wait a moment. My Majesty is making the arrangements. We will attack tonight. At that time, the gates of Wengaze City will be open and the aristocratic families, armies, and even the royal family will be restrained. King Xiaowu can go on a killing spree. No one will stop you. Chapter 347. Tonight at midnight? Fiji raised his head and glanced at the servant. He scoffed at the Dongli royal family's intentions. If he remembered correctly, the Tianyu branch of the Empire of Qin would be recruiting students in 2 days. Were they afraid that something would happen, and the Luo family would be protected by the Tianyu branch? Was that why they wanted to act first? Indeed, if Luo Qingtong really became a student of the Tianyu branch, the Luo family wouldn't be easy to deal with. What's more, they were acting in secret. Therefore, even though Fiji saw through the Dongli royal family's intentions, he didn't say anything. Tonight is the time of the Z period. The sooner they acted, the better. It would save them the trouble of waiting. He raised his hand and waved, and the eunuch tactfully retreated. King Xiaowu wasn't someone they could casually interact with. Furthermore, he obviously wasn't interested in talking to them, so they couldn't disturb him. At the same time, in the Heavenly Evil Valley, Luo Qingtong opened her eyes and looked at the pile of herbs in the cauldron. She was extremely focused. A large amount of the power of heaven and earth was guided into the cauldron, and fused with the medicinal power. This process was called medicinal fusion. The next step was to fuse the pills. Luo Qingtong had failed several times in the past. The power of heaven and earth would react violently with the medicinal power, causing the medicinal power to mutate instantly. It would have a completely different effect from the previous herbs. If one had to accurately describe this process, it was like those chemical experiments where 2 different substances were mixed together to form a completely new and different substance. However, the synthesis of substances in chemical experiments was controllable, but alchemy was completely uncontrollable. If the power of heaven and earth was introduced into the same herbs, the pill would be ruined if the timing was slightly wrong. Even the most experienced alchemists couldn't produce a 100% success rate. This was because each herb contained a different amount of medicinal power. When they fused together, the mixed medicinal power would be different. Furthermore, the power of heaven and earth was introduced into the fusion. It was basically impossible to predict the most crucial point. When was the best time to fuse the pills? But now Luo Qingtong wanted to break this rule. The light in her eyes was constantly focused on the ball of medicinal power that was violently fusing with the power of heaven and earth to produce a mutation. Countless numbers floated up and down, flashing past her eyes. The next second, rise! Following her low shout, the ball of medicinal power suddenly combined into one. At the same time, the power of heaven and earth that was pouring into the cauldron was also cut off. Whoosh! At this moment, a thick pill aroma filled the air. Success! Luo Qingtong looked at this scene with a smile. After several failures, she finally grasped the most optimal value of the mixture of medicinal power and heaven and earth energy, which was also the key point of forming the pill. From now on, she would never fail to refine these two pills. No way. Did you really succeed? Little Pig widened his eyes at the side. What a freak. What a freak. Previously, it had rejoiced in Luo Qingtong's furnace explosion, thinking that there was finally something in this world that she couldn't do. But then it realized that this woman was really crazy. She actually refined 2 types of pills at the same time. Who the hell dares to refine 2 types of pills at the same time on their first try? It would be strange if the cauldron didn't explode. Forget about it. How long has it been? She actually succeeded in refining it. She's refining 2 types of pills at the same time. Even an alchemy master wouldn't dare to do this. Chapter 348. Rumble. Between the heavens and the earth, countless winds and clouds gathered towards the 9 Shaman Mountain. F***ck. It can't be right. She awakened the pill spirit on her first try. Little Pig really admired Luo Qingtong from the bottom of his heart when he sensed the gathering of auras outside. Refining pills was completely different from refining pills. When refining pills, no matter how hard one tried to fuse them, the medicinal properties would fuse with each other. It was impossible to trigger the energy of heaven and earth, let alone cause any changes. More importantly, refining pills was similar to cultivation. It would attract the interference of the laws of heaven and earth. Because refining pills involved the changes of the laws of heaven and earth, some pills would even develop their own consciousness due to the high grade of the materials used to refine them. At that time, it would attract the interference of the heavens. Cultivation was a path that defied the heavens. Refining pills was the same. The higher the grade of the pill, the greater the obstruction it would face from the heavens. Little Pig really didn't expect that Luo Qingtong's first attempt at refining pills would attract the interference of the heavens. This was the kind of treatment that could only be received by a pill that had its spirit awakened. Generally, the pills refined by alchemists were only of common grade. After mixing the medicinal properties with the energy of heaven and earth, it would be considered good if they could retain 20 to 30% of the medicinal properties. Only 50 to 60% of the medicinal properties would attract the interference of the heavens. 70 to 80% of the medicinal properties would attract a heaven and earth phenomenon. Just as Little Pig was thinking about this, countless phoenixes and dragons' cries could be heard outside. Under the backdrop of the stormy clouds, the sky was filled with dazzling multicolored light. F***ck, F***ck, F***ck. Little Pig was dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. A heaven and earth phenomenon. And it was the highest grade pill, dragon and phoenix auspicious. The medicinal pills refined by this woman. Just what level had the medicinal strength of the pills retained? Could she be any more perverted? Little Pig felt his stomach ache. This was the first time he saw someone using such low-grade medicinal materials to refine a pill that attracted the interference of the heavens and heaven and earth phenomenon. Luo Qingtong ignored him. Rumble. Wind and thunder rumbled outside, and the cries of dragons and phoenixes resounded. She suddenly felt that the pill in her cauldron had suddenly changed, and the value of the pill's potency skyrocketed. In the next second, swish! The lid of the cauldron was suddenly opened, and a few pills rushed out of it. Crack! Following the appearance of those medicinal pellets, several bolts of lightning as thick as an arm descended from the sky and struck those medicinal pellets. The cave Luo Qingtong was in was completely split open. The lightning bolts struck towards the pills. Stop them! Little Pig panicked when he saw this scene. They're here to destroy these pills. Also, be careful, these medicinal pills will run away. How could Little Pig have imagined that Luo Qingtong could actually use such low-grade ingredients to refine a spirit-opening pill? It was simply inconceivable. This pill definitely surpassed the category of common grade. He didn't know how Luo Qingtong did it. But in the next second, it regretted saying the wrong thing. Damn, this is the heavenly law. It actually asked Luo Qingtong to stop them. This wasn't before it was sealed. Hey. I was wrong. Come back quickly, don't stop them. Little Pig stomped his hooves and shouted anxiously. He also rushed out with a swish. At this time, Luo Qingtong had already arrived in front of those medicinal pellets. With a swish, she raised her hand and grabbed those medicinal pellets. Then, she raised her head and faced the lightning bolts. She could feel the vast and powerful energy coming from the lightning bolts. It was even stronger than the energy of the Sage Realm experts she had felt before. Luo Qingtong cursed Little Pig 800 times in her heart. Fortunately, Little Pig also rushed over at this time and shouted at her. Throw away those medicinal pellets in your hand. Chapter 349. She felt waves of energy coming from the life and death sword in her mind. It seemed like it wanted to come out. Luo Qingtong sensed the energy waves and found that it was indeed restless. It was targeting the heavenly Tao's energy. Luo Qingtong thought for a moment and raised her hand to release it. Swoosh! The life and death sword instantly shone brightly with black and white light. Luo Qingtong held the sword and slashed at the lightning that was striking down from the sky. F***ck. Don't! Little Pig's eyes widened when he saw this scene. Even if this woman wants to die, she shouldn't do it like this. The heavenly Tao's energy was not something she could contend against. Don't be so stubborn at a time like this. Little Pig had to hand it to Luo Qingtong. Seeing her rushing towards the lightning bolts, Little Pig felt an indescribable pain in his heart. Let's fight! What sin have I committed to have met such a perverted master, who doesn't play by the rules? Since Luo Qingtong would die if she died, Little Pig rushed towards Luo Qingtong without any hesitation. As he rushed, his small body emitted a faint light. However, before it could reach Luo Qingtong was stunned. Kacha! The lightning bolts that carried boundless power were instantly cut in half by Luo Qingtong's sword. In the next second, they disappeared under everyone's shocked gazes. That's right, they disappeared. Everyone was dumbfounded by this scene. Little Pig had just arrived in front of Luo Qingtong, and before he could use his trump card, he saw that everything was over. Luo Qingtong floated to the ground. Rumble! The dark clouds in the sky rolled. After the lightning bolts were scattered, they also disappeared. In the blink of an eye, the sky was restored to its previous clear and bright state. Master! The experts, who had been stunned for a long time, finally regained their senses and hurriedly rushed towards Luo Qingtong. They still didn't know what had happened. She only saw the lightning strike towards her master, and then it was smashed into pieces by her master's backhand. That was heavenly thunder and lightning. The group of people looked at Luo Qingtong with shock and awe. They did not know the true power of the lightning, nor did they know that it was not something that ordinary people could resist. His master's ability was truly unfathomable. Little Pig was the most shocked of all. It rubbed its eyes with its hooves and blinked hard to make sure it wasn't dreaming. F***ck. It stared dumbfoundedly at Luo Qingtong, who was completely unscathed. It didn't know what to say. How could she resist the power of the heavenly law? Was this woman trying to ascend to heaven? However, only Luo Qingtong knew that those lightning bolts were not destroyed by her. Instead, they were absorbed by the life and death dual right sword in her hand. Luo Qingtong lowered her head and looked at the black and white sword in her hand. For the first time, she had a strong interest in this treasure that Tianmingzi gave her. She looked at the flowing inscription patterns on the sword. The power of those lightning bolts was obviously absorbed by these inscription patterns. Interesting divine inscriptions? Luo Qingtong looked at these inscription patterns thoughtfully and put away the life and death dual right sword. Chapter 350. How much do you know about inscriptions? Luo Qingtong looked at Little Pig and asked. After this experience, Luo Qingtong was obviously more interested in inscriptions. The inscriptions on the life and death sword could absorb heavenly energy to replenish itself. Moreover, this was an incomplete inscription. If the inscriptions were complete, how powerful would the life and death sword be? Luo Qingtong was very excited about this. Was it because of that sword that you shattered those lightning bolts? Little Pig immediately reacted when he heard Luo Qingtong's question. How could this woman be so powerful? She could even shatter heavenly energy in a matter of minutes. Then she would truly be a monster. So it was because of that sword. Yes. Luo Qingtong nodded. It absorbed those lightning bolts. Are inscriptions really that powerful? Of course. Little Pig nodded. You haven't come into contact with inscriptions yet. Of course, I don't know much about it either. But inscriptions are really powerful. I told you before that making spatial spiritual tools is just a small path. Do you know? When you become proficient in inscriptions, you can learn how to make spatial spiritual tools. It's not a storage space, but a real spiritual tool for killing. Little Pig said. A spatial spiritual tool can use the power of space to kill the opponent. It can shatter space and strangle space. Think about how powerful it is. Even if a powerful inscription master's cultivation talent is average and his strength is weak, with his powerful inscription technique, no one dares to bully him. Not to mention the various uses of inscriptions. There are elixir inscriptions, weapon inscriptions, human inscriptions. Little Pig listed out all kinds of benefits to Luo Qingtong. If inscriptions are engraved on elixirs, they can increase the elixir's efficacy. If inscriptions are engraved on spiritual tools, they can increase the power of those spiritual tools. If inscriptions are engraved on a human body, they can increase the human's ability in all aspects. Do you think inscriptions are powerful or not? Then why didn't you mention it before? Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and looked at Little Pig. If inscriptions were so powerful, why didn't this pig encourage her to learn them? This was not like it. This pig could not wait to show off whenever it had something good. Just look at those useless rings it had taken out before. I want to say it too. Little Pig was depressed by her question. However, that old geezer Tianmingzi is the supreme master of this Tao. I've flipped through all the books he left for you. But there's no basic foundation. Otherwise, how could it resist showing off? That was because there was no chance. No wonder that damned old man was so excited after knowing that Luo Qingtong's talent in alchemy was astonishing, and wanted to pass his mantle to her no matter what. Besides himself, there was probably another reason, and it was that if he passed down the Tao of inscriptions to others, it would absolutely be lost in a matter of minutes. There wasn't even an introductory manual, so how was anyone supposed to learn it? However, it also knew that it couldn't blame Tianmingzi. Their sect was already standing at the pinnacle of the Tao of inscriptions. Those introductory manuals couldn't be stored in the 9-story exquisite pagoda. It only thought of this when it escaped with all its might, but it was already too late. Otherwise, why would it cling on to Luo Qingtong, this life-saving straw? If it wanted to pass on its mantle, it could even give up on revenge. Luo Qingtong was also speechless by Little Pig's words. At this moment, she felt a movement in her palm. Only then did she remember that she still had a few medicinal pills in her hand. These medicinal pills can be taken back for Grandpa to consume. Luo Qingtong chuckled when she felt the medicinal pills moving restlessly in her palm. Then she sealed them in a medicine bottle. Let's go. I'll refine some more, and then go back. As for the matter of inscriptions, let's talk about it later. Chapter 351. Dongli Nation, Wingay City. Old Master Chu wore a worried look. Recalling what the king had said to them today, he couldn't sit still. Tonight, the people assigned to the defense of the 4 gates should withdraw. No matter what you hear, the guards are not to move. In addition, all of you noble houses must restrain your subordinates. No matter what happens in this city, it has nothing to do with you. Do you understand? No one is to leave without permission. Dongli King's expression was fierce. Tianyu's empress had sent the ferocious tiger guard to eliminate the Luo clan. This was a great opportunity for him. He wouldn't allow anyone to stop him. Many of these noble houses were on good terms with the Luo clan. His warning was for them to consider their options and not go down the wrong path. Otherwise, they couldn't blame him for settling the score later. If he could eliminate the Luo clan, would he be afraid of eliminating a few more noble houses? Yes, Your Majesty. The patriarchs of the aristocratic families were all frightened by his words. They didn't know what was going to happen tonight. They had a bad feeling about it. As for old Master Chu, his heart was in turmoil when he saw Dongli King's gaze on him. If he guessed correctly, what happened tonight was most likely related to the Luo clan. Was the king preparing to make a move on the Luo clan? Old Master Luo had worked hard for Dongli Nation for half his life, using the Luo clan's resources to supplement the nation's fortunes time and time again. With the marriage agreement between the Luo clan and Tianyu's imperial family, the neighboring nations didn't dare invade Dongli Nation. Now that the king saw the Luo clan in trouble, not only did he want to kick them while they were down, he even wanted to exterminate them, destroy the entire Luo clan. But Luo Qingtong still had an engagement with Tianyu's imperial family. As long as the 2 clans didn't break off the engagement, the king wouldn't dare make a move on the Luo clan. Suddenly, old Master Chu thought of a possibility as the color drained from his face. Did Tianyu's imperial family make a move themselves? With this thought in mind, old Master Chu's heart sank. If that was the case, then the Luo clan would be doomed this time. But for the sake of face, the royal family of Tianyu would definitely hide their actions and find a reason to do so. Therefore, they couldn't act in the name of Tianyu's imperial family. If he wanted to help the Luo family, there was still a chance, as long as he doesn't listen to His Majesty. But was it worth it? For the Luo family, was it worth sacrificing the entire Chu family? Old Master Chu's heart burned with anxiety. He paced back and forth in the hall as scenes flashed through his mind. He and Old Master Luo had quarreled for half of their lives, but they both admired each other's character. Although he didn't get along with Old Luo, he had heard people talking about him. Old Luo told others that he was an upright and tough man who wasn't afraid of the Luo family's reputation. Old man Luo, your life isn't worth it. Old Master Chu couldn't help but cry when he thought of this. Both of them were devoted to the country, but the royal family didn't care about them. Without the lips, the teeth would feel cold. Old Master Chu didn't know if the Chu family would be next after the Luo family. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth and summoned his son. Send someone to keep an eye on the Luo clan. If there's any movement, report it immediately. Yes, father. Although he was surprised, the latter obeyed and left. Old Master Chu sighed heavily as he watched his son's departing figure. Chapter 352. It was midnight. The bright moon hung high in the sky. The clouds in the sky gathered and dissipated, surrounding and cutting the moonlight into various shapes. In the middle of the night, there was no sound at all. Clop, clop, clop. The muffled sound of hooves suddenly rang out from the east gate of Windgaze City, but the guards acted as if they didn't hear anything. The east gate was wide open. Fiji led a group of disguised ferocious tiger guards through the gate. Uft! Fiji sneered when he saw that there was no one around. No one on the street came out to look at the muffled sound of hooves. The Duke of Dongli really couldn't wait to destroy the Luo clan. He really had everything planned out. Just as well, he wanted to end this as soon as possible. Let's go. After identifying the direction, Fiji waved his hand and led his men in the direction of the Luo clan. Today was the day the Luo clan would be destroyed. Clang! Dark night, sword light, moon and murderous intent. At the same time, the Chu clan members who had been keeping an eye on the Luo clan gasped when they saw the ferocious tiger guards charging towards the Luo clan. They hurried back to report. "Father, the Luo clan is in trouble," the eldest son of the Chu clan said hurriedly. In the main hall of the Chu clan, Old Master Chu suddenly stood up. "Quick! Gather the men! We're going to the Luo clan. Beat the drums and gongs along the way and wake everyone up." If the imperial family of Tianyu was involved, the Chu clan wouldn't be able to do anything. But if the entire city was alarmed, the imperial family would have to retreat if they didn't want to tarnish their reputation. That way, the Luo clan would be safe. But just as the Chu clan's men were gathered, there was a commotion outside the door. Cheng Lu Wangye's face was gloomy as he led the imperial guards to surround the entire Chu family. "It's late and the dew is heavy. Where is Marquis Ding going?" "Imph. That old thing. I knew he was up to no good. He helped the Luo clan before, and now he's going to ruin our plans." But he didn't know that they had their eyes on him. His Majesty's words were not only an order, but also a warning. Who would have thought that he would really move? This old fart wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Luo clan, right? Cheng Lu Wangye's eyes were cold. "It's already late at night. Marquis Ding should stay at home. It's midnight and 100 ghosts are traveling at night. Don't be careless and bump into anything. That would be bad." His words were ruthless and meaningful. How could Old Master Chu not understand? As expected, Tianyu's royal family made a move. His Majesty, on the other hand, had always been on guard against him helping the Luo family. He had long sent people to guard the Chu residence. This time, the Luo clan was really doomed. Old Master Chu slumped into his chair. At the same time, bang! The door of the Luo residence was kicked open. Fiji's eyes were cold, and the face hidden under the armor was full of murderous intent. He waved his hand fiercely. "Kill. Except for Luo Qingtong, the entire Luo clan will be wiped out." At the same time, in the heavenly evil valley, Luo Qingtong had just finished refining the pills needed by the Luo clan's iron army. She slightly changed the time of refining the pills, so that the medicinal power in the pills wouldn't be so strong. Thus, it didn't attract the interference of the heavenly Tao. She put away the pills and prepared to refine the antidote for her poison. At this time, whoosh. Chapter 353. Whoosh. The bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes was sharp. She raised her head abruptly. "Grandfather." Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. In the next second, her figure suddenly rushed out of the room and stood on the tallest tree in the valley. Cloud-piercing arrow. Before Luo Qingtong left, she gave it to the battle slave experts to ignite in case of an emergency. A crisis that could make a group of martial lord realm battle slave experts unable to deal with. The bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes was piercingly cold. "Everyone from Evil Valley, follow me back to Wingay City." As she spoke, she raised her hand and released the spirit ship from the waist ring. Whoosh! The moment Luo Qingtong spoke, the people from Evil Valley had already gathered from all directions. Seeing the spirit ship, they were not surprised. Their master could even take out a Sumeru spatial artifact of several hundred square meters. What was a spirit ship? But they did not know why their master wanted to go to Wingay City. But since it was Luo Qingtong's order, they naturally would not disobey. The group boarded the spirit ship one after another. With a wave of Luo Qingtong's hand, the spirit ship suddenly soared and flew straight in the direction of Wingay City. On the other hand, Luo Qingtong took out a Luosha mask and put it on herself. Her bright red dress was also changed into men's clothing. It was still a fiery red, but this time it represented the bloodlust of Azura Purgatory. Those who dared to touch the Luo family and her grandfather were courting death. At the same time, in the Luo family, Fiji rushed in with his people and felt something was wrong. "Who are you?" The people who rushed out in front were all at the martial lord realm. When did the Luo family have such strong strength? Among them, there were even peak martial lord experts. Looking at these people blocking his way, Fiji's face was indescribably cold. The Luo family actually hid such power in private. No wonder Luo Qingtong dared to be so arrogant in Dongli country. It was said that she relied on her status as the future wife of Tianyu's fifth prince, but now it seemed that it was because of the Luo clan's strength. The Luo family had really hidden themselves well. If it wasn't for his sister's request for him to come in order to conceal their actions, He was afraid that this group of Mang tiger guards wouldn't have returned. But now Fiji sneered. What tyrannical strength! In front of him, all of them were useless. Kill. The few of you, go find Grandpa Luo and kill him. Leave these people to me, he ordered coldly. Yes. A few of his trusted aides answered and prepared to leave. However, before they could make a move, rays of light from a formation lit up above the Luo residence, suddenly enveloping them. Rumble. The array formation's light intertwined and reflected the attacks of Fiji and the others. At the same time, powerful attacks burst out from the formation and blasted toward Fiji and the others. Damn it! There's an array formation in the Luo residence. Fiji was almost injured by his own attack. Just as he steadied himself, he saw one attack after another mix with the attacks of the martial lord realm experts, rushing towards him and the others. The attacks of the array formation were so powerful that he didn't dare to take them head-on. He could only dodge them. At this time, outside the Luo residence, Luo Xinning, with a veil covering her face, stood in the dark and watched the array formation light up above the Luo residence. She gritted her teeth in anger. Spiritual array master. Last time, she almost died in the Luo residence because of the array formation light. But now... Chapter 354. Boom. A black object was thrown out by her. It was the heavenly lightning seed that Luo Xinning got from Elder Chu. It was a one-time use spiritual weapon that could break arrays. The array was difficult to break from the inside, but it was much easier from the outside. Luo Xinning used the ferocious tiger guards to see where the eye of the array was, and threw a heavenly lightning seed over. Instantly, the eye of the array was broken. The light of the array above the Luo family became sluggish, and its power was greatly reduced. It was not completely broken. Luo Xinning gritted her teeth. How powerful was the spirit array master protecting the Luo clan? According to Elder Chu, he only got a few heavenly lightning seeds by chance. Even an array that could trap a martial king was useless against him. This only reduced the power of the array above the Luo family. But this was enough. Seeing that Fiji and the rest had broken free from the suppression of the array, they started to fight back. Luo Xinning sneered in her heart and ordered the people around her. Go! You can do whatever you want with the beautiful young lady of the Luo family. Remember, after you are done with her, scratch her face and sell her far away. I want the worst brothel to entertain the most disgusting guests. The royal family of Tianyu would not touch Luo Qingtong? She would. How could Luo Xinning let Luo Qingtong go? Luo Qingtong would be in so much pain that she wished she was dead. She wanted to see if the fifth prince would still want her after her chastity was destroyed. As for the blame, the ferocious tiger guards would take it. Who would know that she was the one who did it? Luo Xinning sneered. Yes. Don't worry, Miss Ning. We will do our best to get things done for you. The bandits that Luo Xinning found were the most vicious and evil ones. They heard that they could get something for free, and that someone would take the blame for them. They just wanted to enjoy it. How could they not agree? They rubbed their palms together and sneaked towards the Luo family. However, they did not know that they were not going to a beautiful and gentle place, but a bloody cave of bones. When they realized it, it was too late. Rumble. The power of the array in the Luo family was greatly reduced. Instantly, Fiji and the others reacted. Fiji was enraged that he was forced into such a sorry state by the array formation. He looked at those martial Marquis realm battle slave experts who were risking their lives to block in front of him, his expression extremely cold and furious. These people from the Luo family all deserve to die. Scram. With a palm strike, he sent a martial lord realm expert flying. He coldly shouted, "Everyone present, kill them all. Leave no one alive." Yes. The group of Mang tiger guards heard the order, and immediately rushed towards the group of battle slaves. The Mang tiger guards had more experts than the battle slaves. Among the 100 or so people, nearly half of them were martial Marquis experts. The battle slaves were no match for them. Go. Retreat to the old master's courtyard and guard it with your life. Don't retreat a single step. They had already sent out a whistling arrow to inform their master. Presumably, the latter would arrive soon. He couldn't let anything happen to old Master Luo. Fortunately, the Luo clan's iron guards had all been sent to the side courtyard to recuperate. Otherwise, if they were to stay here, they would not be able to take care of them and would only end up dead. The group of people retreated as they fought. At this moment, boom! Chapter 355. Old Master Luo. Seeing this scene, the eyes of all the battle slaves turned red with envy. Before their master left, he had told them that they must protect the old man well. Old Master Luo was recuperating and could not move at will. If old Master Luo was hurt by these people, how could they face their master? They might as well kill themselves one by one. Bang! The martial Marquis realm experts who were fighting with the Mang Tiger Guards did not care about their injuries. They took a hit and retreated from the battle. They rushed toward old Master Luo's courtyard. However, it was too late. They watched helplessly as the Fijians rushed into old Master Luo's courtyard. At this moment, bang! A blood-red figure instantly descended from the sky, like a red lightning bolt in the dark night. He appeared in front of the few trusted aides of Fiji, and lifted his leg to kick the person who was in the lead away. In the next second, a pure black light shone. In the dark night, the pure black light was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. It drew a cold and murderous arc in the air. Swoosh! In an instant, fresh blood splattered out, dyeing the dark night sky that was covered by the moonlight saber light a dark red. Kill all of them. After cutting the throats of the two Fiji followers who wanted to rush into old Master Luo's room, Luo Qingtong held the death blade and stood at the door of old Master Luo's room. The eyes on the Rakshasa ghost mask were deep and cold. Midnight, 100 Ghosts Parade. She was the biggest demon in the world. How dare they touch her grandfather? Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed with a bloody light. Just a bit more, and these people would have barged in. These people deserve to die. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. Fiji had just mentioned these people. Now they were all returned by Luo Qingtong. Rumble. In the sky above Grandfather Luo's courtyard, a group of figures suddenly descended. They were the people from the Evil Valley, who were one step behind Luo Qingtong. The huge spirit ship stopped in the sky above the Luo family. Figures with strong auras floated down from the ship. Yes, Master. Hearing Luo Qingtong's words, everyone agreed. They raised their hands and attacked the stupefied Mang Tiger Guards. The battle slaves below, who had suffered heavy casualties, were all overjoyed when they saw Luo Qingtong appear. Master! Those who are seriously injured, go and treat your wounds. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. If you can still fight, equip yourself with these. As she spoke, she raised her hand and tossed over a useless ring. Inside were the weapons and armors she picked out from Tianyu's royal treasury. These were the treasures of Tianyu's royal family for thousands of years. Every piece of these weapons and armors could make martial kings and martial emperors exclaim in surprise. But now Luo Qingtong had easily tossed him to a group of powerful battle slaves. Good things were meant to be used. The improvement of one's strength was always more useful than looking at them. Luo Qingtong would never be stingy with giving benefits to those who worked for her. As for her enemies, Luo Qingtong looked coldly at Fiji and the others. Swoosh! She leaped up and charged towards the group of ferocious tiger guards. At the same time, she suddenly made a series of hand seals. Chapter 356. Wait! Fiji was caught off guard by this sudden turn of events. He looked at the group of Martial King Realm experts rushing towards them in the dark night, and then looked at the Rakshasa ghost mask on Luo Qingtong's face. He was extremely shocked. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, is there a misunderstanding between us? They were only here to destroy the Luo clan. Why would the evil Dr. Ghost Eye, who was so popular in the Black Field, appear in the Luo clan and attack them in anger? Could it be that the Luo clan was related to evil Dr. Ghost Eye? But why didn't they get any information? One had to know that the outside world was going crazy trying to find this person. All the major forces and aristocratic families were inquiring about this person's whereabouts. Even the Tianyu Empire was no exception. This person's medical skills were amazing. Most importantly, she had a very good relationship with the Black Field. It was said that the Blackfield's bloody arena had warned the Chung clan of a superior country because one of her subordinates had been kidnapped. During her disappearance, the Supreme Blackfield had personally inquired about her whereabouts everywhere. They couldn't wait to befriend such a person, but now they had offended her? Fiji was anxious and angry. He wanted to explain himself. However, haha, Luo Qingtong sneered. Misunderstanding. She backhanded her sword and stabbed it into the stomach of a verdant tiger guard. In the next second, she pulled out her death blade and kicked the verdant tiger guard away. That ferocious ghost face just stared at him quietly. No, there's no misunderstanding between us. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold and harsh. Those who touch the Luo clan will die. As she spoke, she waved her sword. In an instant, the group of martial king realm experts surrounded Fiji. Their actions were extremely ruthless. The surviving battle slaves, after being equipped with the armors and weapons given to them by Luo Qingtong, also surrounded the Mang Tiger Guard. The Mang Tiger Guards, who were originally arrogant and unscrupulous in the Luo clan, were now like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. They were panicked and terrified as they were slaughtered by the people brought by Luo Qingtong. They simply had no power to fight back. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, there must be some misunderstanding. Fiji begged for mercy as he resisted. I'm Fiji, the legitimate son of the Fei family of the Tianyu Empire's empress. We're here to target the Luo clan. If there is anything that disturbs Sir Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, we can leave immediately. Let's just pretend that nothing happened. Lord Evil Dr. Gui Tong. I am the son of the Fei clan, the younger brother of the empress. If you kill me, it won't be good for you or the Luo family. Please be magnanimous and let us go. Fiji's face was covered in cold sweat. At this moment, he had completely forgotten about Empress Tianyu's order to never reveal his identity. If he didn't reveal his identity, he would die here. The Luo clan was related to Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. Moreover, the other party was so protective of him. If he had known, he would never have agreed to his sister's request to come here and exterminate the Luo clan. Fiji's heart was filled with regret. He looked at Luo Qingtong with an indescribable urgency. Fei clan. Luo Qingtong looked at him with narrowed eyes. The Empress's family? You're Yuan Xue's uncle? Yes. Yes. Evil Dr. Ghost I know swear? Fiji was overjoyed when he heard this. He didn't expect Luo Qingtong to call out Yuan Xue's name. Doesn't this mean that Evil Doctor knows Xue? In this case, he should be fine. Chapter 357. Just as he was thinking about this, Luo Qingtong took off her mask. Of course I know her. Isn't my blind eyes and the Luo family's current predicament all thanks to her? Luo Qingtong, who had taken off her mask, had a sweet smile on her face. She looked at him with her empty eyes. The gorgeous, enchanting and unbridled young man was like a bloodthirsty demonic flower in the dark sky. His magnificence was astonishing, but it made Fiji's face turn pale with fright. Luo Qingtong. How could it be her? Fiji's face was full of horror and disbelief. Luo Qingtong was the evil Dr. Ghost Eye. No wonder she was so protective of the Luo family. Then he and the others, with that thought in mind, he stumbled and almost fell to the ground. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared at that extremely beautiful and enchanting face. His mind was completely blank. Why are you surprised? Don't worry, there will be a bigger surprise later. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it. Luo Qingtong's smile was bloodthirsty and enchanting. She waved her hand. Leave his body intact. I'll go to the Fei family later and give them and the Empress of Tianyu a big gift. They wanted to destroy the Luo family. If she didn't give them a gift in return, how could she be worthy of the Empress of Tianyu and Yuan Xue's kindness? Thinking of the critical moment when she arrived, Luo Qingtong's eyes became more and more bloodthirsty. Luo Qingtong. Fiji's face was pale. He wanted to say something, but a group of martial king realm experts rushed over. He didn't have the chance to speak anymore. Rumble. The sounds of fighting in the Luo family spread far and wide in the quiet night. In Dongli Palace, King Dongli was sitting on a couch with a relaxed expression, listening to the report from his personal servant. Your Majesty, the fighting in the Luo family has stopped. The Luo family must have been destroyed. Your Majesty can rest easy in the future. The servant said flatteringly. Oh, it's over so soon? The Tianyu Empire's Mang Tiger Guard is indeed powerful. Dongli King chuckled. The Luo clan has been annihilated, leaving behind only Luo Qingtong. There is nothing to be afraid of. From now on, the entire Dongli country will be under the control of the royal family. No one will be able to criticize my decrees anymore. His expression was ruthless. Yes, Your Majesty will no longer be bullied by the Luo clan. The attendant smiled apologetically. At this moment, a servant walked in from outside and handed over a name card. Your Majesty, the people from Tianyu Branch Academy have sent us a name card. They say that the entrance examination will be held tomorrow, and they invite Your Majesty to come personally. Oh. King Dongli raised his hand and had someone bring the invitation over. After reading it, he laughed and said, "This Luo Xinning is indeed vicious. The Luo clan has just been exterminated, and she can't wait to instigate Elder Chu to change the date of the entrance examination. At that time, she will be admitted to Tianyu Branch Academy in glory, while the Luo clan will be miserable. She clearly wants the Luo clan to die with grievances." King Dongli knew that the date of the entrance examination of Tianyu Branch Academy had been set long ago. How could it be changed so easily, especially tomorrow? If it wasn't Luo Xinning, who else could it be? His intentions were truly vicious. But it had nothing to do with him. He could take advantage of the great day when the Luo clan was exterminated to watch a show. Chapter 358. At the same time, Luo Xinning walked out of Chu Lao's place with satisfaction. Chu Lao was very happy about the destruction of the Luo family, and had promised to change the enrollment date to the next day. Luo Qingtong, just watch me enter Tianyu Branch School. The daughter of the first wife of the Luo family used to be so high and mighty. Luo Xinning was repeatedly warned that everything in the Luo family would belong to Luo Qingtong. She and Luo Qingtong were worlds apart. But now? The Luo family had been destroyed, and Luo Qingtong had probably been defiled by the people she had arranged, right? With the Mang Tiger Guards as the scapegoat, the bandits would not dare to betray her. By then, Luo Qingtong would have to spend the rest of her life in a low-class brothel. He wondered if she would be so angry that she would vomit blood when she woke up in a strange place and heard that he had been admitted to the Tianyu Branch Academy. Humph. They all say that my life is not as good as yours. Luo Qingtong, tomorrow I will prove that no matter how good your life is, it is not as good as mine. Luo Xinning said as she broke the flower in her hand and went back to her room. At the same time, in the Luo family, the Mang Tiger Guards who came to invade were all killed. Except for Fiji, the rest died without a complete body. Some of them wanted to beg for mercy, but Luo Qingtong did not accept it. She did not lack powerful people. She would not accept anyone who wanted to destroy the Luo family even if they knelt down. The group of people was completely wiped out, and their corpses were all thrown to feed the dogs. At the same time, a group of sneaky people was found in Luo Qingtong's courtyard. They had all sneaked into the Luo family when the array was broken. These people were the bandits that Luo Xinning found. However, at this moment, these bandits, who had done all kinds of evil, almost fainted when they saw the powerful people around Luo Qingtong. Luo Xinning asked them to play with such a person. Wasn't this pushing them into the fire pit? The group of people was furious. They quickly told Luo Xinning what she wanted them to do. As he explained, he kowtowed and said that he and the others had been deceived. The group of Martial King realm experts and battle slaves were furious. Why was this Luo Xinning so disgusting? The smile on Luo Qingtong's lips was very deep. Oh, Luo Xinning asked you to do this? She raised her hand and knocked on the armrest. Have you prepared the place and the people? Yes. The bandits answered fearfully, not knowing what Luo Qingtong wanted to do. Yes. Then prepare for it. In a few days, I will send someone to you. Just do as Luo Xinning told you. Luo Qingtong smiled coldly. How could he let Luo Xianning's good intentions go to waste? She had to enjoy these painstakingly arranged things for herself. But before that, there was one more thing she had to do. Qingtong's all of you are. Put on all the equipment. Also, Luo Qingtong raised her hand and threw the 2 elixirs that she had refined to the Martial King realm experts and the battle slaves. Take these and go to the Fei family. Exterminate her family? Luo Qingtong looked up at the bright moon that was as big as a wheel in the sky. At this moment, the bright and clear moonlight seemed to be covered with a layer of misty blood under her gaze. Chapter 359. In the spiritual boat, a group of Martial King realm and battle slaves took the elixirs given by Luo Qingtong. These elixirs were originally given by Luo Qingtong to the Luo family's iron soldiers who had their cultivation abolished. The enlightenment elixir increased the power of understanding. The energy-increasing elixir increased the strength. These 2 elixirs were very good for their recovery. It was the same for the people of Evil Valley. After taking the energy-increasing elixir, those who were at the critical point of their cultivation suddenly broke through the original level. Then they took the enlightenment elixir and broke through again. Everyone's strength broke through 1 or 2 small levels. Some talented ones even broke through 3 or 3 levels. Their overall strength had more than doubled. In addition, Luo Qingtong equipped them with weapons and armor. This group of people was not weaker than the direct descendants of the big families in the Tianyu Empire. Among them, the one who benefited the most was the expert at the peak of the Martial King realm. Luo Qingtong gave him 2 elixirs with elixir spirit that she had refined before. It helped him break through to the Martial Royal realm at once. Of course, it was also because his strength had reached the peak and he had touched the threshold of the Martial Royal realm. He was half a step into the Martial Royal realm. Luo Qingtong gently pushed him from behind, and he stepped over it directly. Master! Feeling that his strength had broken through the Martial King realm and reached the Martial Royal realm, the expert at the peak of the Martial King realm was very surprised. He could not hide his excitement as he looked at Luo Qingtong. He did not know how she did it. According to common sense, even if he had touched the threshold of the Martial Royal realm, it would take him at least several years to fully comprehend the realm of the Martial Royal realm. But now he had stepped over it so easily. He felt like he was dreaming. The others were even more shocked and aghast. They knew that their master was powerful, but they didn't know that she was so powerful. Master, this is... The expert who had just reached the Martial Royal realm looked at the jade bottle in his hand in a trance, and asked incredulously. Elixir. Luo Qingtong's answer was concise, but it scared the group of subordinates. Elixir? The group of people looked at the jade bottles in their hands, as if they were dreaming. These were elixir? The legendary elixir that was extremely precious, and could only be refined by an alchemist? It was said that only one alchemist among countless pharmacists could be found. It was extremely difficult to find one. Alchemists were in the center of the imperial court of the sacred dynasties and royal family. In other places, they had never even seen a shadow of a person. They had only heard of legends. But now, everyone lowered their heads to look at the jade bottles in their hands, and a wave of dizziness washed over them. They had a bottle in their hands. Over 100 bottles of elixir was pills. They had never dared to elixir before. Master, oui. The group stuttered and didn't know what to say. Medicinal pills, this kind of legendary existence, not to mention seeing them, they rarely even heard of them. Now each of them had actually eaten a bottle? God. They didn't God, Lord, they God Emperor. And Luo Qingtong turned to look at them. What? No, nothing. Looking at her indifferent expression, the group suddenly felt that they were making a fuss over nothing. But these were elixir, not cabbages that could be found on the roadside. Master, isn't your expression a little too calm? Chapter 360. We're here. Luo Qingtong turned to look at the huge city in front of her. In this dark night, the huge imperial city of the Tianyu Empire was like a beast crawling in the dark. At this moment, the city was completely silent. Silence reigned everywhere. Luo Qingtong's gaze swept across the most conspicuous palace in the distance, and her lips curled into a smile silently. I didn't expect to be back so soon. The lesson I taught you last time wasn't enough. Empress of Tianyu, Yuan Shui, are you ready to receive the surprise I have for you? Luo Qingtong's smile grew more bloodthirsty as she spoke. Turn northwest to the Fei residence. At this moment, Patriarch Fei and his sons were still awake and discussing matters in the Fei residence. Nothing must go wrong with the hidden funds collected from various places. Send someone to check them and hand them over to the imperial family in 2 days. Otherwise, we won't be able to bear the consequences if the emperor blames us. Patriarch Fei said sternly. The hidden funds were collected from various places in the Tianyu Empire on the orders of the imperial family. The imperial family's treasury had been stolen, and the imperial family had become paupers. This batch of hidden funds had been collected by the imperial family to deal with the emergency. However, this matter would damage the imperial family's reputation and couldn't be discussed openly. Therefore, the Fei family was the best choice. After all, they were from the empress's maternal family. Yes. Father, don't worry. The hidden funds have been counted and we can report to the emperor tomorrow. The Fei family's sons replied. Family head Fei replied with some dissatisfaction. Gee, has always been in charge of this matter, and he knows best how many there are. If I knew this batch of hidden funds would arrive so quickly, I would never have agreed to let him destroy the Luo family at this time. It's just a marquee residence from a low-level country. Just send a group of people to destroy it. Why bother Ji? Don't they know if they have the guts to do so? Patriarch Fei was very dissatisfied. In his opinion, the empress was too indecisive. In this aspect, she was not as good as Shui. If it was him, since he was unhappy with this marriage, he would take advantage of the fact that the fifth prince was not around to wipe out the entire Luo clan. Even if the fifth prince was dissatisfied, the matter had already been done. Could it be that he could still go against his own mother? Yet, he had to let the fifth prince do as he pleased, causing the imperial family to lose all face. As the Fei family head was speaking, he didn't know that the Luo family, which he had been talking about, had already annihilated Fiji and the others. At this moment, Luo Qingtong was already above the Fei family. As one of the top clans in the Tianyu Empire, the Fei clan occupied a large area in the Tianyu imperial city. Naturally, the target was very obvious. Luo Qingtong found the location of the Fei family without much effort. Looking down from the sky, Luo Qingtong could see that the Fei family was densely packed with all sorts of guards and sentries. In the center of the mansion, there was an array set up. Although it was very simple in Luo Qingtong's eyes, compared to other aristocratic families, this defense was considered decent. Unfortunately, tonight, all of this would turn into ashes. Wait here first. Luo Qingtong instructed and jumped off the spirit ship. Earth-level spirit ships did not have the ability to conceal themselves. But this was nothing to Luo Qingtong. Chapter 361. Swoosh. Luo Qingtong landed in the vicinity of the Fei family. With a light tap of her foot, she dashed into the Fei family. Luo Qingtong's eye technique could see that the Fei family's defense was full of flaws. Luo Qingtong did not even need to hide from the patrolling guards. She followed the predetermined route and walked through the blind spots. Even if there was a group of guards diagonally opposite her, they would not be able to see her. Swoosh. Swoosh. Luo Qingtong dashed through the Fei family and easily destroyed more than half of the array in the mansion. At the same time, the colorless and odorless medicine started to spread from every key point in the mansion. 15 minutes later. Plop. 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 Countless patrolling guards suddenly felt dizzy and fell to the ground. What? The guard who saw his comrade fall to the ground in front of him did not even have time to shout before he fell to the ground as well. Countless dull sounds could be heard. In just an instant, the patrolling guards fell to the ground. Fei family's main courtyard. Patriarch Fei instructed his sons and was about to let them go back to rest. At this moment, he suddenly heard a slight noise from outside. In an instant, his expression changed. Who is it? He opened the door and rushed out. His sons' faces changed slightly as well. Almost instantly, they followed behind him and rushed out. Swoosh. Swoosh. Just as the Fei family head and his sons rushed out, streaks of dazzling blade lights were heard from the courtyard outside. The Fei family's guards, who had lost their ability to resist and were lying on the ground, were being killed one by one. Luo Qingtong, dressed in red, stood in the middle of the courtyard of the main courtyard, looking enchanting. She was surrounded by the people from the Evil Valley, who were wearing armor and were well equipped with powerful cultivation. They were silently killing every life as if they were the servants of the Grim Reaper. All of this happened in silence. When Patriarch Fei and his sons rushed out, more than half of the guards in the courtyard had been killed. Fortunately, there were still many guards who were resting and were not affected. At this moment, all of them rushed out and fought with the people from the Evil Valley. How dare you? When Patriarch Fei stepped out and saw the scene in the courtyard, his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He scolded sternly. Where did this scoundrel come from? How dare you cause trouble in my Fei family? You must have eaten a bear's heart and leopard's guts. Before he could finish speaking, the surroundings of the Fei family were abruptly set ablaze with a whoosh. Bear heart and leopard guts? Amidst the flames, the Rakshasa mask covering Luo Qingtong's face looked indescribably ferocious and terrifying. However, her chin was indescribably delicate and small, warm and smooth. The contrast between the two gave people a sense of extreme contrast between black and white, devil and Buddha. She lifted her head slightly and raised her hand. A black shadow landed heavily in front of Patriarch Fei. You flatter me. I'm here to deliver a gift to the Fei clan. He had come in a hurry and didn't know what to give her. I wonder if you'll like this big gift? Gee. Patriarch Fei thought that Luo Qingtong had thrown a hidden weapon at him. When he took a step back and saw clearly what had landed in front of him, he was so agitated that he almost fainted. Father. His sons behind him quickly supported him and looked at Luo Qingtong with indescribable anger. Chapter 362. At this moment, they had already recognized that Luo Qingtong was the evil Dr. Gui Tong. But so what? The other party had clearly come with ill intentions, and had even killed Fiji. Since they had already become enemies, the other party's background was no longer important. What was important was that the other party must die here today. Furthermore, she must die cleanly so that the Black Field would not have any evidence to use against her. As he thought of this, the Fei family's eldest son leaped and charged towards Luo Qingtong. You all support father, I'll kill her first. The Fei family's eldest son's expression was cold. He could tell that the evil Dr. Gui Tong was the leader of these people. Once he killed this woman, the others would naturally collapse. Most importantly, this woman's identity was too sensitive. The evil Dr. Gui Tong, based on the other party's identity, it would only take a few minutes for them to make things difficult for the Fei family. Thinking of the endless troubles in the future, the Fei family's eldest son's gaze towards Luo Qingtong was filled with murderous intent. Since the other party had come, she could forget about leaving. Swoosh. The Fei family's eldest son charged towards Luo Qingtong. He was a low-level martial king and his movements were extremely swift and fierce. However, Luo Qingtong only raised her head and glanced at him. She held the long sword in her hand horizontally, and used the life blade to absorb the attack, and the death blade to reap the harvest. With a swoosh, the heaven-battling art swept across. The Fei family's eldest son did not even have the chance to make a second move before Luo Qingtong's sword slashed open his chi gate and blood spurted out. Eldest brother. Seeing this scene, the Fei family's other sons instantly widened their eyes and cried out in alarm. They looked at Luo Qingtong with shock. The Fei family's eldest son was not weak, but he had died so easily. The other party was clearly only a martial general. They looked again and again and were absolutely certain of this point. Could it be that the other party was still hiding her true strength? Or was the evil Dr. Gui Tong really that evil? The Fei family's sons looked at Luo Qingtong and felt a chill in their hearts. They suddenly remembered a rumor they had heard in the past. He said that the Chung family had come to capture one of the evil doctor's subordinates. The evil doctor chased them all the way to the place where the Chung family had stopped and killed them all. Among them, one of them had just reached the martial emperor realm. At that time, the evil doctor was only a martial master. Many people thought that this was just a rumor. They thought so too. But from the looks of it now, it might be true. The other party was too strange. Boss, Seeing the eldest son of the Fei family die in front of him, Patriarch Fei's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Bitch, I want you dead. I want you to die a miserable death. As he spoke, he pounced towards Luo Qingtong. Boom. The aura around him exploded. Wherever the wind blew, even his sleeves became as hard as steel. Martial Emperor stage. Chi waves surged into the sky, surging like a tiger, and a picture of a roaring tiger appeared in the air. Howling Tiger Fist. A martial king realm cultivator could release energy, while a martial emperor realm cultivator's energy could take form. Bang. The Fei family had punched towards Luo Qingtong. Master. Before Luo Qingtong could move, the martial emperor stage powerhouse who had been watching them had already blocked in front of her. Boom. The two of them collided, and in an instant, the martial royal realm powerhouse who had just reached martial royal realm was sent flying. He fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. He shouted to Luo Qingtong, "Master, be careful. He's hiding his true strength." Chapter 363. Boom. Master Fei sent the man who had just reached the martial royal realm flying. Then he dashed toward Luo Qingtong like a vulture. When Luo Qingtong saw the violent power that was exuding from Master Fei's body, a crimson light flashed across her eyes. In the next second, her figure abruptly leaped into the air. Boom. Luo Qingtong held the heart of the thousand-year soul-luring wood in her left hand. At that moment, streaks of soul energy were drawn into the heart of the tree, filling it completely. As the name suggested, the thousand-year soul-luring wood could draw souls and absorb soul energy. When Luo Qingtong found the thousand-year soul-luring wood, it had already gained intelligence and knew how to absorb the soul energy for its own use. At that moment, the soul energy had turned into streaks of power in the heart of the thousand-year soul-luring wood. These streaks of power flowed into Luo Qingtong's body through Luo Qingtong's hand. How many people from the Fei family had died today? Probably not many. At that moment, these streaks of power were all channeled into Luo Qingtong's body through the thousand-year soul-luring wood. Sky battling skill. The young girl's voice was clear and cold. It was filled with a strong sense of desolation, like the collision of metal and stone. Against the Rakshasa ghost mask on her face, she looked like a soul reaper from hell. Rumble. There was a flash of light in the sky. In the next second, a sword radiance shot out like a dragon or a phoenix. It was filled with a strong killing intent as it flew toward Master Fei. Father, be careful. Seeing this scene, the four sons of the Fei family had immediately cried out. Bang. The moment they shouted, Luo Qingtong's sword radiance hit Master Fei's body. Bang. The latter was sent flying, just like how the martial royal realm expert had been sent flying. He crashed into the room with great force. In an instant, the huge building in the main courtyard was smashed into pieces. Master! The Heaven Evil Valley's people were overjoyed. However, right at this moment, boom! The entire collapsed main courtyard building was suddenly shaken away, sending bricks and debris flying everywhere. Patriarch Fei's figure suddenly emerged from the ruins. Bitch! Let's see what other tricks you have. Family head Fei stood on top of the rubble, and other than the fact that his body was stained with too much mud, he was not injured at all. The robe on his body was torn apart, revealing a light green inner armor that was flickering with rays of light. The defense of a martial emperor. Master, be careful. The inner armor on his body is a treasure. On the Evil Valley's side, someone recognized the function of the inner armor on Master Fei's body and immediately shouted, "The defense of a martial emperor?" Luo Qingtong looked at the light green inner armor that the Fei family head was wearing and the blood-red light in her eyes turned cold. The Empress of Tianyu cared a lot about her father. She even found a treasure of this level for him. You guys go first. As she spoke, the sword radiance in her hand shot out, and took the lives of the Fei family head's four sons. The four of them stood there. They had not expected Luo Qingtong to attack them at this moment, and they fell to the ground. My son. Master Fei rushed out from the ruins. When he saw the scene, his eyes turned red. Bitch, you deserve to die. Chapter 364. Master. They saw Master Fei rushing towards Luo Qingtong like a madman. The men from Evil Valley were about to rush forward, but were stopped by Luo Qingtong. I said, all of you leave. The defense of a martial emperor meant that those who were not of the martial emperor realm would not be able to break through it. There was no point for the men from Evil Valley to stay, so they might as well leave. Most of the men from the Fei family had been killed, so there was no need for them to stay. Master. The men from Evil Valley refused to leave. Master Fei was a middle-level martial royal. Although they knew that Master was very powerful, Master's current strength was only at the great martial general realm. Although they did not see the attack clearly, they were sure that their master had used an external force to launch the attack. If family head Fei did not have that inner armor, it would have been fine. Based on the attack that Master had just unleashed, it would have definitely killed him. However, since he was wearing the martial emperor realm inner armor, what should their master do? It was too dangerous to leave her here. Master, let's leave together. Cut the crap. My orders are to be obeyed and not questioned. Are you going to disobey my orders? Luo Qingtong looked at them coldly with her empty eyes. Master. The men gritted their teeth. At this moment, the injured man who had just reached the martial royal realm stepped forward. Let's go. If we stay here, we will only cause trouble for our master. As he spoke, he took a deep breath and looked at Luo Qingtong, saying, Master, you must be careful. As he said this, he rushed up to the huge spirit ship with a whoosh. When the others heard what he said, they gritted their teeth and left. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The group of people rushed into the huge spirit ship and quickly left this place. At the same time, Luo Qingtong was facing Master Fei, who was rushing towards her like a madman. Boom! The blood-red light in her eyes flickered, and her body swept up like a ghost as she charged towards Master Fei. Rumble! The two of them fought each other. Luo Qingtong and the Fei family head were evenly matched with the power of the 1,000-year-old soul-guiding tree's core, and her eye technique. However, Gala! The life and death yin-yang sword cut into the inner armor of family head Fei, producing an ear-piercing sound. I can't cut it. Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. The defense of a martial emperor was indeed powerful. The absorption power of the life blade, combined with the power of the 1,000-year-old soul-guiding wood, was unable to cut open the inner armor on the opponent's body. In such a situation, even if she could see through the flaws in her opponent's attack, she wouldn't be able to kill him. However, was he going to let Patriarch Fei off just like that? Not to mention that Luo Qingtong was unwilling, the other party would not let her go at this time. Bitch, there's no other way, right? Since the beginning, Patriarch Fei had been staring at Luo Qingtong with his bloodshot eyes. He didn't care about the departure of the men from the heavenly Evil Valley. When he saw that Luo Qingtong's sword had no effect on his body, he sneered and raised his hand to release a killing blow. Roaring Flame Fist. This blow created countless flames in the air. Combined with the blazing fire around the Fei family, the power of this blow increased tremendously in an instant. As the flames rose with the wind, the shadow of a ferocious tiger suddenly appeared from the flames. It leaped out and bit viciously at Luo Qingtong. Patriarch Fei's eyes were bloodshot, and he seemed to have gone mad. He followed closely behind the shadow of the ferocious tiger, and grabbed at Luo Qingtong with his fingers like hooks. Chapter 365. A bloody light flashed in Luo Qingtong's eyes. At this moment, bah! Die my ass! Little Pig instantly jumped out of Luo Qingtong's sleeve. Grandpa Pig won't show his power. Do you think I don't exist? As he spoke, a consciousness fluctuation mixed with something was transmitted into Luo Qingtong's mind. Quick, master, do as I say. Let's torture him together. After receiving this information, Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows. She narrowed her eyes and glanced at Little Pig. In the next second, her figure flew up. In the sky filled with flames, black and red contrasted against each other. Luo Qingtong's figure was even more beautiful than the flames. Her clothes fluttered in the contrast of this blood-red color. She raised her hand and pointed at the space between her eyebrows. The ancient seal, the king of the wilderness, I, in the name of the owner of the blood contract between heaven and earth, remove the seal. Swoosh! As Luo Qingtong pointed her finger, an upside-down hexagram symbol suddenly appeared on her forehead. Countless rays of light circulated. The energy in Luo Qingtong's body was quickly absorbed, including the energy converted by the 1,000-year soul guiding wood. Boom! As the hexagram symbol appeared on Luo Qingtong's forehead, Little Pig's body was also suddenly covered by a huge hexagram symbol. The dazzling light directly covered Little Pig's small pink body, leaving only a ball of blazing light. At the same time, the wind and clouds surged between heaven and earth. In the dark night sky, a group of dark clouds thicker than the night sky seemed to gather, blocking the bright moonlight in the sky. Voila! Amidst the surging clouds, a huge vortex appeared. After that, a ferocious roar of a beast that seemed to have come from the primordial times suddenly resounded. In the next second, an incomparably huge claw suddenly stretched out from the vortex. Boom! When the claw stretched out, the surrounding space was instantly shattered. A terrifying pressure enveloped the surroundings. Bang! Patriarch Fei's body, which was rushing towards Luo Qingtong, seemed to be frozen by something. No. Impossible. The blood contract between heaven and earth, the reversal of the laws of heaven and earth. And this seal, this is... Ah! He watched in horror as the huge claw slammed down. In an instant, he and the light green inner armor on his body were smashed into a pile of meat paste. The ground was unharmed. The huge claw retracted. At the same time, rumble! In an instant, more than half of the Fei family's residence collapsed. Swoosh! Luo Qingtong's body fell to the ground. All the energy in her body had been sucked dry, and so had the energy from the 1,000-year-old soul guiding wood in her hand. If not for a sudden surge of energy from the life and death dual polarity sword supporting her at the critical moment, she would have died. She might not even have the strength to stand. That pig only said that this could temporarily remove its seal. It didn't say that it would have to pay such a huge price to remove the seal. She was almost sucked dry. And this was only a claw. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. She grabbed Little Pig, who had fallen limply in midair, and stuffed it into her sleeve. Then, she glanced at the ground. An account book had fallen to the ground. What's this? Luo Qingtong picked it up and flipped through it. Chapter 366. It was an account book that the Tianyu imperial family had been secretly collecting to solve the imperial family's emergency. She didn't expect the emperor of Tianyu to place such importance on the Fei family. But it made sense. They were in-laws. Luo Qingtong's lips curled into a mocking smile. But now, these things were going to be hers. Luo Qingtong put away the account book. Then she tiptoed to the Fei family storehouse. She took out a large sum of hidden funds and the Fei family's many years of storage, and put them all into her trash ring before leaving. After she left, the entire Tianyu imperial city was in an uproar. Although Little Pig's true form only appeared for an instant, the boundless pressure still woke everyone up from their stupor. But by the time they arrived, Luo Qingtong had already left. Looking at the Fei family's collapsed main residence, the experts in Tianyu Imperial City looked at each other in shock. The Fei family was the Empress maternal family, a century-old family that was one of the pillars of the Tianyu Empire. But it was destroyed in a single night. And in such a short time, they didn't even have a chance to ask for help. The group of people widened their eyes, unable to believe the reality in front of them. In the Tianyu Imperial Palace, the Empress almost fainted when she heard the news. No, this is impossible. How could my Fei family be in such a state? You must be lying to me. I don't believe it. The Empress couldn't connect the destruction of her family to her. The Fei family was a century-old family with great strength and strict defense. Her father and brothers were not weak either. Especially her father. She had even specially asked for a martial emperor-level inner armor treasure for him just to ensure his safety. How could he be destroyed just like that? And in the imperial city of the Tianyu Empire? No. I don't believe it. She staggered away from the palace maids who were trying to help her and ran out. Along the way, she bumped into Yuan Shue, who had rushed over after receiving the news. Mother! Mother! Yuan Shue cried and threw herself into Empress Tianyu's arms. Grandfather and uncle are dead. How could this be? Mother! Yuan Shui's cries shook the heavens. Empress Tianyu felt dizzy. Dead. Is he really dead? The Fei family had been exterminated? Is this for real? This was actually real. Ah! Empress Tianyu let out a heart-wrenching scream. Her vision went black, and she fainted on the ground. Because of Yuan Shui's action of throwing herself into her arms, her entire body fell backwards. In an instant, a hole appeared on the back of his head, and blood seeped out. Mother! Yuan Shui screamed in fright. Quick! Hurry and help Imperial Mother up. Imperial Physician Xian. Summon the Imperial Physician. Her screams spread far and wide. In an instant, the Sky Universe Imperial Palace was thrown into chaos. At this time, Luo Qingtong had already caught up with the group of people from Evil Valley who had left early. They were waiting for Luo Qingtong outside the Imperial City. They had already decided that if Luo Qingtong really couldn't come out safely, they would return to the Luo family. After that, they would return to the Luo family and take good care of the old master. After that, they would cultivate with all their might. In the future, when they broke through to the Martial Emperor realm, they would come again to kill that old dog of the Fei family and avenge their master. However, they still believed that Luo Qingtong would be able to escape. Now that they saw Luo Qingtong return safely, they were overjoyed. Master! A group of people gathered around. Luo Qingtong nodded. Let's go, the Fei family has been exterminated. We should return to the Luo family. Chapter 367. Yes. Everyone looked at Luo Qingtong with an indescribable passion. The Fei family had been destroyed? Could it be that Master didn't escape, but instead killed the Fei family head? No one dared to think about it. She was wearing a martial emperor-level defensive inner armor. Everyone looked at Luo Qingtong with shock and excitement. After answering in unison, they immediately piloted the spirit boat and flew in the direction of Dongli Nation. At this moment, the sky had already begun to brighten. Luo Qingtong walked to the side of the spirit ship and began to adjust her breathing. This battle with the Fei family head had given her a lot of insight and inspiration. The greatest benefit of fighting someone of a higher level was that she could gain a deeper understanding of a higher level of power. Luo Qingtong's mind flashed with the gains she had gained from the battle with the Fei family head. As she circulated the energy in her body, the aura in her body continued to boil. Master! The spirit ship soon arrived at Wingay City. The sky had just brightened. Everyone was about to call out to Luo Qingtong when they realized that the aura in her body was constantly changing. They immediately covered their voices. Master was breaking through. Everyone looked at the change in Luo Qingtong's aura, and immediately looked at the expert who had just reached the Martial Emperor realm. When Luo Qingtong was not in charge, he was the one with the most authority. Let's go to the Nine Magi Mountain first. The expert who had just reached the Martial Emperor realm made a prompt decision. Luo Qingtong's breakthrough was a big deal. A martial artist should not be disturbed when they were breaking through. They stopped in the sky above Wingay City. Although the spirit ship was engraved with a concealment array that prevented ordinary people from seeing it, what if a powerful expert happened to pass by and discovered the spirit ship? Nothing could go wrong with Master's breakthrough. The group immediately followed his instructions and flew towards the Nine Magi Mountain. At the same time, they sent a group of people to guard the Luo family to prevent any accidents. Before Master broke through and woke up, no one was allowed to make any moves. Everything was to follow Master's orders. While Luo Qingtong was breaking through on the spirit ship, Wingay City, where the people from Tianyu branch were staying, Luo Xinning sat in front of the dressing table in a bright red dress. Her face was covered with a light-colored veil, revealing only her eyes. Looking at her half-hidden appearance in the mirror, she was still quite graceful and gentle. However, Luo Xinning did not seem to be going for the gentle and graceful route today. She used the golden powder to draw the outline of her eyes and cheeks. Then, she applied a light red flying tail to draw the lines at the corners of her eyes long and slanted. She looked very imposing and imposing. Finally, he stuck a crimson lotus petal on his forehead. Heh! She chuckled at the mirror. She was very satisfied with her outfit today. Luo Qingtong, it's a pity that you can't see it. This is the appearance of the future genius of the Luo family. The direct bloodline of the Luo family has been destroyed. From now on, I, Luo Xinning, will be the direct bloodline of the Luo family. The future glory of the Luo clan will be inherited by me. I will let you know how I entered Tianyu Branch Academy in glory, and how I rebuilt the second branch of the Luo clan. Concubine born? Expelled from the Luo clan? What you said is nothing. Luo Xinning laughed coldly. In the next second, she stood up and left with a smug look on her face. Luo Xinning held two things tightly in her arms. Both of them were taken from Luo Qingtong. One was a recommendation letter for admission to Tianyu Branch Academy. The other was the Luo clan's heirloom armor. Of course, she would keep the heirloom armor. As for the recommendation letter for admission, Luo Xinning chuckled and flicked her fingertips. She would give it to whoever hit the Luo family when they were down the most. Chapter 368. At the same time in Tianyu Palace. The moment Tianyu Empress woke up, she screamed hysterically. Investigate! Investigate for me! Who destroyed the Fei family? I will tear them to shreds and exterminate their entire family as a sacrifice to my Fei family's soul in heaven. However, just as her words left her mouth, a furious shout rang out at this moment. Shut up! This is all your Fei family's fault. Emperor Tianyu appeared at the entrance of the Empress' bedroom. He came with boundless anger. Yu Wenxue, who was guarding the Empress' bedside, was frightened by his terrifying anger. In the end, she choked out. Imperial Father, how can you say that to grandfather and the others? We're already very sad that the Fei family was destroyed. How can you? Shut up. Emperor Tianyu was enraged to the extreme. Wasn't he sad that the Fei family was destroyed? He just handed over the secret payment to the Fei family's father and son. He had thought that everything they did would be foolproof. In the end, they had provoked such an enemy. Not only had the entire Fei family been annihilated, but his secret payments had also disappeared without a trace. But he couldn't say anything, because the person who destroyed the Fei family was someone he couldn't afford to offend. Do you know who destroyed the Fei family? Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. How did your Fei family provoke such an enemy? And you want to tear them to shreds and exterminate their entire family? Emperor Tianyu sneered at the shocked empress. Go ahead if you have the ability. But don't drag our imperial family down with you. Emperor Tianyu's anger had reached its peak. When the Fei family was destroyed, he sent people to investigate. In order not to implicate the Luo family, Luo Qingtong didn't hide her identity. She wrote a few words in blood on the ruins of the Fei family. Murderer, evil Dr. Ghost Eye. These few words were seen by everyone who had been alerted to the Fei family. Everyone knew that it was evil Dr. Ghost Eye who destroyed the Fei family. When he heard this, Emperor Tianyu hated that he couldn't go back to the time before the Fei family was destroyed and personally skin them alive. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, who didn't know that she was an esteemed guest of the Black Field with amazing medical skills. The mystic origin heart elixir she refined was already hard to find. It was said that even the forces in the Holy Dynasty had people asking about her whereabouts, wanting to buy the elixirs she had refined. How could the Fei family offended such a person? And it was the extermination of their entire family. Empress Tianyu said she wanted to tear them to shreds and exterminate their entire family. Did she think that Blackfield was so? Not to mention, Tianyu Emperor Pai tossed a card in front of her. This is the invitation that the Lanyue family sent to me as soon as possible. Do you know what they said? Evil Dr. Ghost Pupil, do not move. Do you know what this means? This meant that the Lanyue family was definitely on evil Dr. Ghost Eye's side. You idiot. Use. Why don't you think about how your Fei family offended her? Recently, a few of my imperial granduncles were injured and other alchemists couldn't heal them. Only evil Dr. Ghost Eye can do it. I was going to send people to the Blackfield's branch city to discuss with the Bloody Arena. I wanted them to ask evil Dr. Ghost Eye to refine the elixir. Emperor Tianyu gritted his teeth as he said this. Chapter 369. He flicked his sleeves and left. The Tianyu Empress collapsed on the bed. She never thought that the one who wiped out the Fei clan would be evil Dr. Gui Tong. Not to mention his strength. Just his shocking medical skills were enough to make people not dare to offend him. How could her clan offend such a person? And to the point that he didn't care about anything and directly wiped out the entire Fei clan? Father and the others weren't so short-sighted people. The Tianyu Empress was no longer hysterical, and so was the arrogance on her face. She covered her face and curled up on the bed, sobbing. The imperial granduncles that Emperor Tianyu mentioned were the martial emperors that the Tianyu imperial family relied on the most. If the other party's request for medicine was really rejected, because their Fei family had offended evil Dr. Gui Tong, they would definitely be blamed. Although they wouldn't do anything to her for Yuan Ma's sake. But she wouldn't be as carefree as before. Heavens, why did it become like this? What's going on? The Tianyu Empress felt an indescribable pain in her heart. She couldn't understand it. Her life wasn't supposed to be like this. She had a son that she couldn't be more proud of. He was the future hope of the Tianyu imperial family. She, as the Empress, should be living a carefree life with limitless glory. And she was indeed like this before. But why did things suddenly become like this? The Fei clan was wiped out, and because of that, they made an enemy of evil Dr. Gui Tong. What exactly was going on? While the Tianyu Empress was crying, Yuan Xue was also at a loss. Father meant that they couldn't take revenge for the Fei clan? They didn't even have a chance to take revenge after the Fei clan was wiped out? And they even asked him not to take his anger out on the imperial family? Yuan Xue's worldview was impacted. She always thought that her father and mother were omnipotent. But now it was clear that she was wrong. Yuan Xue's heart was in a mess. But soon, she thought of something else and hurriedly said to the Tianyu Empress, "Mother, don't cry. The Fei clan still has hope. Did you forget? Little uncle. He was sent by you. He's not at the Fei clan, so he's definitely fine." The Tianyu Empress was stunned. She quickly wiped her tears. "Yes. Fiji. And him. My Fei family's direct bloodline has not been exterminated." At this point, the Empress of Tianyu finally had some hope. As long as Fiji was still around, the Fei family would not be completely annihilated. There was still hope for them to rise again. However, their thoughts were completely shattered by the timid words of the maid beside them. Your Highness, Your Highness. King Xiao's corpse is also in the Fei clan's mansion. It has been confirmed that he is dead." "What did you say?" The joy that had just appeared on the Empress' face was instantly extinguished by the servant girl's words. "Fiji is also in the Fei family mansion. How is this possible? I clearly sent him to exterminate the Luo family. How could he appear in the Fei family's mansion? This is impossible." Empress Tianyu couldn't help but scream. Yuan Xue was also shocked. At this moment, Emperor Tianyu, who had just left in a rage, thought of Yuan Mo. He turned around and walked back. Hearing these words, he couldn't hold it in any longer. He rushed in and slapped the Tianyu Empress. Chapter 370. Sending Fiji to exterminate the Luo clan? Needless to say, Fiji must have offended evil Dr. Ghost Eye along the way. In the end, the Fei clan was exterminated and might even implicate Tianyu's imperial family. I told you not to provoke the Luo clan. Don't provoke them. Did you turn a deaf ear to my words? Otherwise, how could the Fei clan have offended evil Dr. Ghost Eye? How could they have been exterminated? How could his secret funds have disappeared without a trace? Emperor Tianyu's chest heaved with anger. He pointed at the Empress and Yuan Xue with a furious expression. Pass down my orders. From today onwards, strip the Empress and the 7th princess of their authority. Apart from enjoying the glory of the Empress and the 7th princess, they're not allowed to interfere in anything. They're not allowed to mobilize a single soldier. Stupid women are the root of a family's downfall. I've finally seen it for myself. And you? He turned to the petrified Yuan Xue and shouted. Don't think I don't know that you're the one who instigated your mother. What did I tell you before? It seems you don't put me in your eyes at all. Guards. Emperor Tianyu's expression was fierce. drag the 7th princess away and flog her 20 times. Ever since the Fei clan was exterminated, Emperor Tianyu had been suppressing his anger. Now it all exploded. He pointed a finger at Yuan Shui and ordered angrily, "Beat her up." "Ah. Mother. Save me. Mother." Yuan Shui dodged with all her might, not wanting to be caught by the palace servants. However, the servants serving Emperor Tianyu were no ordinary palace maids. They quickly caught her and pressed her to the ground. "Ah." Yuan Shui's shrill cry rang out. Shui. Seeing Yuan Shui being flogged, Empress Tianyu struggled to get up from the bed. But as soon as she moved, her head spun and she almost fainted again. She could only lie on the bed and watch Yuan Shui being flogged. At the same time, in the spirit vessel, Luo Qingtong's aura continued to rise. The spirit qi around her had almost condensed into a whirlpool and was continuously flowing into her body. Stage 1 Great Martial General, Stage 2. It only slowed down when it reached the 6th phase. Everyone in the Heavenly Evil Valley thought that Luo Qingtong had finished her breakthrough. Unexpectedly, her body trembled slightly. After breaking through the 6th stage barrier, her aura continued to rise slowly. Luo Qingtong's aura stabilized after breaking through to stage 7. She opened her eyes. "Master." Everyone hurried over to pay their respects. "Congratulations on your breakthrough, Master." "Yes." Luo Qingtong nodded her head. She was very happy that she had advanced to the 7th level of the Great Martial General realm. Fighting above one's level was indeed a great way to improve one's strength. She felt the power in her body and smiled slowly. Not bad. The remaining 2 stages weren't that difficult for her to improve. After all, she had reached the 3rd stage, but it would take a little more time. Luo Qingtong was thinking about the Luo family, so she didn't choose to continue the breakthrough. At this moment, a message came in from outside. "Master, the entrance examination of the Tianyu Branch Academy has been held in advance. It's today." An expert from the Heavenly Evil Valley received the message and hurriedly reported after glancing at it. "Oh." Luo Qingtong just got up and smiled at the news. "That's good." It seemed that Luo Xining couldn't wait. The bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes turned cold. Chapter 371. Like King Dongli, Luo Qingtong knew what Luo Xining was up to the moment she heard the news. She thought that the Luo clan was doomed, so she couldn't wait to step on the Luo clan and herself. Luo Qingtong's smile was bloodthirsty. Speaking of which, she was rushing to destroy the Fei clan, and had yet to return the gift Luo Xining gave her. But it wasn't too late. "Is there still no news of the Luo clan in Wengay City?" she asked the Tianxia Valley expert beside her. "Yes. Master, you're in the middle of a breakthrough. Without your orders, we won't dare to make any moves," the expert from Tianxia Valley said respectfully. Without Luo Qingtong's orders, they wouldn't dare to act rashly. Therefore, no one in Wengay City knew that the Luo clan was fine. As for the aristocratic families that had been suppressed by the royal family, they thought that the Luo clan was doomed when they heard the battle last night. Therefore, no one went to the Luo clan to investigate. By the way, Master, when the Luo clan was attacked last night, the Chu clan gathered troops and wanted to help. But they were surrounded by the Imperial Guards led by 6th Prince Cheng. The troops only retreated in the morning. The expert from Tianxia Valley reported. Luo Qingtong didn't need to give any orders about what happened last night. The experts from Tianxia Valley would naturally help her find out the truth. Old Master Chu? Luo Qingtong thought of Old Master Chu, who had followed the Imperial Guards to the Luo clan to announce the decree, and then advised her to take a step back. She nodded lightly. The Chu clan has a good leader. Old Master Chu was very similar to Old Master Luo in some aspects. He was tough and upright. The Chu clan must have been targeted by the royal family when Old Master Chu followed the Imperial Guards to the Luo clan. Therefore, when they were about to send troops that night, they were immediately stopped. But although the Chu clan didn't come, however, she would remember this favor. Send a message to the Luo clan and ask them to send some people to secretly watch over the Chu clan. Don't let their people be bullied. As for the rest, don't touch them yet. Luo Qingtong ordered with a faint smile on her lips. Let's go back and watch a great show. She only hoped that Luo Xinning and the others would not disappoint her. They had to make this show a hit. Yes. The group of people answered in a deep voice and got off the spirit ship together with Luo Qingtong. Luo Qingtong put away the spirit boat, and the group flew towards Wingay City. Meanwhile, in Wingay City, in the huge square outside the palace, Luo Xinning kicked a challenger who was charging at her, and sent him flying. Bang! The tyrannical qi that came from her feet sent her opponent flying. At the same time, it also kicked the pillar on the side of the arena, causing it to shake violently with a bang. Hua! Seeing this incomparably swift and fierce attack, the surrounding spectators all let out a cry of surprise. The strength of a rank 4 martial general is indeed unique. No one in the entire eastern border country can compare to her. I'm afraid Luo Xinning will take first place in this year's recruitment examination. Yes, she's only 14 years old. No one can compare to her strength at this age. Almost all the disciples of the major families have tried, but no one was her match. They were all sent flying with a few kicks. Chapter 372. There was an endless stream of discussion all around. Luo Xinning stood on the stage, looking proud. At this moment, she was dressed in red and looked very dazzling. Coupled with her performance in the arena, she was even more eye-catching. At this moment, Luo Xinning was the center of attention. Luo Qingtong, did you see that? I did it. The daughter of a concubine from the second branch of the Luo family, who was once under your spotlight, is now stepping on your head. The daughter of the first wife of the Luo family is now moaning under some disgusting man. Without the title of the future wife of the fifth prince, what do you have left? I will make sure you don't even have the right to look up to me in the future. I will crush all the shadows in front of you with my own hands. Teacher. After the competition, Luo Xianning bowed to the 3 instructors on the spectator stand. The 3 of them nodded, especially Elder Chu, who was smiling from ear to ear. Luo Xianning had won a lot of face for him. Her anger towards Luo Xianning for causing her to lose face in front of so many people had almost dissipated. Good. Not bad. He nodded. The other 2 teachers nodded as well. Luo Xinning's ability and potential were indeed the strongest in the Dongli Kingdom. If nothing went wrong, she would be the winner of the assessment. There were many benefits to being the winner. In the future, the winner of each kingdom could even compete for the genius ranking in the Tianyu Branch Academy. If Luo Xinning could be on the genius ranking in the future, it would be a great honor for them. Therefore, they were very pleased with Luo Xinning. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge? One of the teachers looked around and asked. Below the arena, there was complete silence, and no one responded. Okay. The teacher asked 3 times. Seeing that no one answered, he nodded and said, Now let's announce the name list. Before he could finish, Luo Xinning's voice was heard. Teacher, I have something to report. As she spoke, she glanced at the place where the Chu family was, and the smile in her eyes was cold. Chu Wenhao tried to plot against me in the previous battle. I don't think such a person deserves to enter the Tianyu Branch Academy. Teachers, please consider his name carefully. Luo Xinning. As soon as she said that, everyone in the Chu family was instantly enraged. You're slandering me. Chu Wenhao looked at her angrily. He did not do that at all. Luo Xinning was slandering him. Looking at his eyes, Luo Xinning sneered in her heart. That was right. She was deliberately slandering Chu Wenhao. But so what? Can anyone prove it? With such a crime on his back, Chu Wenhao could forget about entering Tianyu Branch Academy. Even if there was a quota, it would be eliminated. This was the result of the Chu family trying to help the Luo family. All the friends of the Luo family were her enemies. They could only blame the stupidity of the Chu family for choosing the wrong path. Luo Xinning smiled coldly. Sure enough, Chu Wenhao's name wasn't on the following list. The other party was one of the most powerful people below Luo Xinning. It was impossible for him to not be on the list. The biggest possibility was that the instructors had removed Chu Wenhao's name from the list because of Luo Xining's words. The Chu family was furious, but they could not do anything to Luo Xining. She was already the top student in the examination. If nothing went wrong, she would be even more impressive after entering the Tianyu Branch Academy. The Chu family could not compare at all. Even if they had to suffer this loss, they could only swallow it. Just as the Chu family was furious, Luo Xining's name was called. Luo Xining, the examination of Dongli Nation. Top student. Chapter 373. At this moment, a figure suddenly rushed in from outside the crowd and landed on the arena with a thud. Sorry I'm late? Luo Qingtong raised her eyes slightly. Her clear and bright eyes looked at the crowd below the stage with a smile. She had just gone back to visit her grandfather and made some eye recovery medicine for herself. She almost missed the time. But now it seemed just right. Looking at Luo Xining's shocked expression, Luo Qingtong smiled. What's wrong, my good sister? Don't you recognize me? Luo Qingtong sighed at Luo Xining's shamelessness. No matter what she said, Luo Xining was determined to use the Luo surname and would not change it. Luo Xining wondered what was wrong with her to want to replace the Luo family. But since this was the case, it was fine. She would use her identity as the Luo family's sister to end things for the original owner. After all, Luo Xining was heartless and ungrateful, but the original owner had always treated her as her own sister. Since Luo Xining was so unwilling to admit defeat to the original owner, then she would use her identity to trample her into the mud. She would repay the favor she received from her at the Nine Magi Mountain. You, Luo Qingtong, are you all right? And your eyes, are they healed? Luo Xining looked at Luo Qingtong in shock. She could not believe what was happening. The Meng Hui guards had attacked the Luo family, and the Luo family would be wiped out. Even if Luo Qingtong could escape, the bandits he had arranged would not let her escape unscathed. What was going on? Not only Luo Xining, but everyone below the arena was shocked by Luo Qingtong's sudden appearance. Especially Prince Dongli, who almost jumped up from his seat. How was this possible? Luo Qingtong was unharmed. He did not believe that Luo Xining would let Luo Qingtong go. She knew about the Meng Hui guards' attack. How could she not take the opportunity to scheme against Luo Qingtong? How could she be safe and sound? And if she was safe, then the Luo family, Dongli King's heart trembled as he thought about it. He almost couldn't control his panic and almost fell back from his seat. Instead, it was the personal attendant beside him who hurriedly supported him when he saw this, allowing him to barely stabilize his body. Send the imperial guards to the Luo clan to investigate what's going on. King Dongli roared in his heart, but he pretended to be calm on the surface. He secretly sent a message to his servant, who hurriedly ran out. Luo Qingtong glanced at the guard who left, and then looked at the pale face of Dongli King. She smiled faintly and didn't say anything. There would be a surprise from King Dongli later, but now was not the time. She shifted her gaze back to Luo Xining. That's right, sister. You've always been proud of your sisterly love. What? You're so surprised to see that my eyes have recovered. Don't you want my eyes to recover? Luo Qingtong looked at Luo Xining with a smile. That beautiful smile in Luo Xining's eyes was like a vengeful ghost. She couldn't help but take a step back. She looked at Luo Qingtong with unspeakable shock and panic. If Luo Qingtong was here, she could say that she had escaped by luck. But what about her eyes? Chapter 374. Luo Xining was vicious. After she got the bottle of poison, she found someone to try one drop. The effect was very satisfactory. More importantly, she was very sure that there was no cure for the poison. But now Luo Qingtong's eyes were healed. How was this possible? Luo Xining was shocked, frightened and panicked. Her eyes flashed as she looked at Luo Qingtong's face, which was even more beautiful after her eyes recovered. The jealousy in her heart grew wildly like weeds. Especially Luo Qingtong's eyes. In the past, Luo Qingtong's eyes were praised as limpid autumn water eyes that were like smoke and jade. But at this moment, perhaps because Luo Qingtong's eyes were healed after being destroyed, there seemed to be a bloody light rippling in her eyes. She was so beautiful that she could topple cities. Luo Qingtong's blood-red eyes would only turn completely red when she activated her eye technique, or when she was agitated. Usually, there was only a thin layer of blood mist floating in her eyes. It was like a floating cloud, which set off her clear eyes and made her look extremely beautiful. The blood color reflected the clear sky, and the clouds covered the moonlight. Luo Qingtong's eyes were even more beautiful than before they were destroyed. Her already outstanding charm was further enhanced. She was like a cloud, like the moon, like a demon, like a demon. The two completely different qualities of being proud and lofty and bewitching were miraculously fused together because of this pair of eyes. Luo Xinning thought about the half of her face that was disfigured, and then looked at Luo Qingtong's beautiful face. The hatred in her heart soared to the extreme. This wave of hatred even suppressed the fear and panic she felt just now. Luo Qingtong, you don't have to pretend to be sisters with me anymore. I've been a joke in your eyes for so long. Do you think I'm willing to continue being a joke? Luo Xinning slowly raised her head and looked at Luo Qingtong coldly. I had to swallow my pride in front of you because my status is not as high as yours. But now do you see it? Luo Qingtong, I'm now the top student of the Tianyu Branch Academy. I'm about to enter the Tianyu Branch Academy. In the future, I might even be able to enter the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin. What do you have to compete with me? She sneered coldly. Is it just an empty title of being the future wife of the fifth prince? Or is it this face that's just a facade? Luo Qingtong, you've always been the luckiest person ever since you were a child. You are the only direct descendant of the Luo clan. Grandfather dotes on you, and you have a fiancé like the fifth prince. Even your cultivation talent isn't bad. But now? Where was the #1 genius of the Luo clan? Luo Qingtong, for so long, your strength has always been at the martial master realm. Luo Xinning's words stopped abruptly. She looked at Luo Qingtong's rising aura in shock. Yes, I also feel that being a martial master all the time is a little too low. So sister, are you satisfied now? Luo Qingtong raised her strength to the martial general realm. She didn't want to reveal her strength at the martial general realm for the time being. Otherwise, it would be too conspicuous and people would easily associate it with the immortal sect relics. Moreover, it was more interesting to play cat and mouse, wasn't it? Luo Xinning didn't need to use her full strength. Luo Xinning, you're the #1 genius of the Eastern Fence Academy and the top student of the academy. I want you. Luo Xinning just wanted to provoke her to fight with her. Chapter 375. Luo Qingtong. Luo Xinning was even more shocked than before. She saw Luo Qingtong's strength soar from the martial mentor realm to the martial general realm in a flash. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it. You've been hiding your strength all this time? She couldn't help but scream. In fact, Luo Qingtong was still hiding her strength. Yes, I learned it from you. Luo Qingtong crossed her arms and looked at Luo Xinning, who was in disbelief. Didn't you teach me? When we were in the Luo family, you were only a level 6 martial mentor. After going to the Tianyu Empire for a month, you came back as a level 4 martial general. I'm not as good as you. Luo Qingtong smiled faintly. You. Luo Xinning felt as if she was slapped by Luo Qingtong's words. Luo Qingtong's words were nothing more than that her current strength was all enhanced by medicine. Although this was the truth, when she compared her own aura with Luo Qingtong's aura, Luo Xinning felt very embarrassed. That's right. Luo Qingtong raised her aura to the same level as Luo Xinning's. To be honest, she didn't even need to use her full strength to defeat Luo Xinning. But in order not to make Luo Xinning feel too desperate, and to hide her strength, Luo Qingtong felt that it was better to play slowly. Otherwise, the fun would be gone. How boring would that be? Luo Qingtong looked at Luo Xinning with a cold smile. This woman used to play with the original owner of this body. She treated other people's sincerity as trash. Today, she would let her have a taste of this feeling. Luo Xinning's aura was compared to Luo Qingtong's aura. It was immediately obvious who was stronger. Her aura was much weaker than Luo Qingtong's. Luo Xining's confidence in the arena had all turned into a slap in the face. Luo Xining felt that Luo Qingtong was no match for her. However, the more arrogant she had just taunted Luo Qingtong, the more embarrassed she felt. Luo Xining, who had always thought that she was better than Luo Qingtong, could not stand being put in front of others and being suppressed by Luo Qingtong. The degree of solidification of the aura is nothing. She gritted her teeth. Luo Qingtong, you said I brought back this strength from the Tianyu Empire, but you've only just reached the martial master realm when you came back from the Nine Magi Mountain. Where did your strength come from? In the end, he still relied on drugs. At most, it's just that you've consumed more than me, and your aura is denser than mine. Speaking of this, Luo Xining's eyes turned red with jealousy. When she was in the Tianyu Empire, she had to endure all kinds of insults from the seventh princess, Yuan Shui. In the end, it was because they had to deal with the Luo family and Luo Qingtong that she had the opportunity to improve her strength. However, Luo Qingtong did nothing and the Luo family had plenty of drugs for her to use. Both of them used drugs to improve their strength. What right did Luo Qingtong have to criticize her? Luo Xining just had a better life. Luo Qingtong, even if your aura is stronger than mine, I will use facts to show you what real strength is. Luo Xining said as she attacked Luo Qingtong. She was vicious. When she was in the Tianyu Empire, she knew that her strength was not as solid as her peers because of drugs. Therefore, she studied a lot of life and death fighting skills. She did not believe that Luo Qingtong could defeat her. Boom! Luo Xining's move was extremely vicious. Chapter 376. Bang! Luo Qingtong dodged the attack and grabbed Luo Xining's punch. She pinched it and pressed it down. Then she bent her knee and hit it with a bang. Ah! Luo Xining screamed in pain. Her right arm was broken into two. White bones pierced out from the wound. She continued to wave her other hand towards Luo Qingtong. Bang! The two of them exchanged blows in the air. Luo Qingtong's power broke Luo Xining's defense and sent her flying with a kick. Bang! Luo Xining's robe swelled up. The power of Luo Qingtong's kick almost came out from her back. Bang bang bang! The two of them exchanged blows in the air. Luo Qingtong was completely suppressing Luo Xining. Luo Qingtong did not even use her eye technique. She defeated Luo Xining with her fighting skills. The audience below the stage was already dumbfounded. Luo Xining was so arrogant just now, and now she was in such a sorry state. Luo Qingtong was so powerful. Just now, when her cultivation suddenly rose to the martial general realm, everyone was shocked. Now they were even more shocked. The top genius of Eastern Fence Academy and the top student of the assessment are definitely going to change today, someone said as he looked at the three mentors on the stand. The other two mentors were still fine. They were very interested in Luo Qingtong's appearance. In the recruitment test, as long as one met the requirements, they could enter the arena to compete. The mentors would decide the number of participants based on the battle. Luo Qingtong's strength had met the requirements. The rest was up to her and Luo Xining to fight for the top position. Obviously, Luo Xining was not as good as her. Compared to the two of them, Elder Chu's face was extremely ugly. Luo Qingtong was fine. Not only that, she even beat Luo Xining. Seeing Luo Xining being beaten by Luo Qingtong in the arena, Elder Chu's face felt like it was being slapped again and again. Luo Xining was such a disappointment. She was beaten up like this. Didn't she say that Luo Qingtong's talent was not as good as hers? Now it seemed that she was the one who was inferior. Elder Chu was so angry that his face turned green. The Chus were shocked at first, but then they were happy. Father, Luo Qingtong is fine. The eldest Chu looked at Luo Qingtong who was beating Luo Xining in the arena. If she was fine, did that mean that the Luo family was fine too? They also saw the king hurriedly send a servant away. He must have gone to check on the situation of the Luo family. That's possible. Elder Chu's heart was excited. It seems that something has happened. You should send someone back to take a look. If the Luo family is really fine, then immediately mobilize the Chu family's private army and join forces with the Luo family. Don't give the royal family another chance. When old Master Chu said that, his expression turned cold. King Dongli had gone too far. Why would Luo Xining target Chu Wenhao? It was because the Chus wanted to help the Luo family. But if the royal family did not leak the information, how would Luo Xining know about it? Obviously, King Dongli had decided to eliminate the Chus after the Luo family. That was why he did not allow Wenhao to be admitted to Tianyu branch school. Since that was the case, why was he still holding on to the friendship? The royal family had never treated them as pillars. Bang! 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 Chapter 377. She was also wearing red. When Luo Qingtong wore it, she looked domineering and evil. It was like an extremely beautiful poppy flower that had bloomed to the extreme. However, the fragrance that was emitted from within was an irresistible poison. When people wore red, it was fire. When Luo Qingtong wore red, it was poison. It was poison that made people willing to be seduced, attracted and intoxicated. Boom! She kicked Luo Xining from the air onto the arena. Luo Qingtong bent her knees and jumped down from the air like a butterfly. Bang! Luo Xining rolled on the ground at the critical moment. Luo Qingtong smashed the ground that she was lying on into pieces. In the next second, she lifted her leg and swept the refined iron planks of the arena away. They flew towards Luo Xining, who was rolling on the ground. Too weak. Luo Qingtong approached Luo Xining amidst the flying iron planks. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Luo Xining, whose hair was disheveled like a ghost. She whispered in her ear, "Luo Xining, is this how you want to show me what real strength is?" Luo Qingtong's words deeply provoked Luo Xining. From the beginning until now, she had been beaten by Luo Qingtong. Luo Xining could have finished her in one move, but she did not. Luo Qingtong was playing with her. She wanted to tell everyone that no matter how hard Luo Xining tried, she could only be suppressed by her. She wanted to tell everyone that her ambition, desire, and endurance were nothing in front of Luo Xining. Luo Xining had never been so clear about this before. She hated Luo Qingtong. Why was she better than her in every aspect when they were both daughters of the Luo family? Was she better than her? Luo Xining deliberately got close to her and gained her trust. Teasing her like a dog, playing with her in the palm of his hand. She was like an idiot as she offered all her good things to him. She had been fooled by him like a fool. She had always obeyed him, but ever since the incident at the Nine Magi Mountain, everything had changed. Luo Qingtong, I should have killed you long ago. Luo Xining gritted her teeth and said slowly. She should not have listened to the seventh princess at the Nine Magi Mountain, and kept Luo Qingtong alive to torture. She should have just killed her. That way, today's events would not have happened. Boom. After Luo Xining finished speaking, the aura on her body changed instantly. Boom. The aura around her surged, and in an instant, a violent and terrifying power blasted out from her hand. Shua. Luo Qingtong jumped up and dodged the force. She flipped backward and appeared a few meters away from Luo Xining. Heirloom armor. Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes and looked at the armor that appeared on Luo Xining's body. Luo Xining sacrificed an endless amount of life force to the heirloom armor to activate the power of the armor. Luo Qingtong, I want you dead. Luo Xining pounced on Luo Qingtong crazily. Bam! Luo Qingtong raised her hand to block the attack. With a swoosh, her feet brushed against the ground, and she retreated a few meters. Bam! She tilted her head and dodged Luo Xining's kick. Boom! The railings behind Luo Qingtong broke into pieces. Chapter 378. Luo Qingtong die. Luo Xining's face was ferocious as she charged towards Luo Xining again. Luo Qingtong licked her lips as she saw Luo Xining charging towards her. She could feel a wound on her cheek caused by the wood shavings. The color of blood in her eyes suddenly intensified. The color in her eyes became fainter and fainter. In the next second, her eyes turned completely red like blood. The intense and shocking color looked like the blood that seeped out from the boundless hell. Luo Qingtong's beautiful face suddenly became extremely demonic and devilish, and she was filled with demonic allure. Luo Xinning was so close to her that she was shocked by the blood in her eyes. Luo Qingtong, her eyes, idiot. Luo Xinning spat out coldly. The way Luo Qingtong looked at Luo Xinning was cold and evil. She raised her hand and slammed it heavily on her heirloom armor. You want to kill me with something that my parents left for me? Luo Xinning, tell me. How stupid are you? Luo Qingtong said. In fact, she had already activated her eye technique and saw through the weakness of the armor. Bam! After saying this, Luo Qingtong's palm slammed heavily on the life gate of the armor heirloom. Boom! Luo Xinning's power penetrated the armor and sent her flying. No matter how powerful the treasure was, it would be useless if its weakness was seen through by someone who was not powerful enough to control it. Boom! Luo Xinning's body landed heavily on the arena. Before she could struggle to get up, Luo Qingtong's figure suddenly flashed and appeared in front of her like a ghost. She lifted her foot and stepped on her back harshly. Bam! Luo Xianning was just about to get up, but she was instantly stomped back down by the foot. Crack! Luo Xinning's spine was broken by Luo Qingtong's stomp. Not only that, but even the floor of the arena trembled violently, and countless cracks appeared on it. Ah! Luo Xinning screamed in agony. She was in so much pain that her body twitched. Luo Xinning, I remember that I said that you are not worthy of using the Luo family's items. It seems that you did not understand. As Luo Qingtong spoke, she lifted her hand and removed Luo Xinning's heirloom armor. Luo Xinning could not resist at all. She could only lie on the ground like a dead dog. Bam! After removing the armor, Luo Qingtong lifted her leg and crushed the bones in Luo Xinning's legs. Seeing her scream, Luo Qingtong's eyes turned cold. Luo Xinning, I am returning this kick to you on behalf of the original me. Back then, I used the Luo family's resources to nourish your body and help you cultivate. I did not expect to raise a wolf. Luo Qingtong's eyes were no longer bloodshot. However, the coldness in her eyes was enough to freeze someone to death. On the Nine Magi Mountain, you led your men to attack me while I was breaking through. You crippled my cultivation, blinded my eyes, and threw me to a bunch of trash. I will return all of these to you. Chapter 379. Ah! This time Luo Xinning screamed even louder than the previous 2 times. Her meridians were destroyed and her elixir field was shattered. This kind of pain was not something that could be compared to ordinary pain. Luo Xinning's years of cultivation were all removed by Luo Qingtong's actions. Luo Xinning could not help but cry out in pain. She felt as if her body and soul had been hit hard at the same time. And this was not the end. Bang! Luo Qingtong kicked her into the air. Luo Xinning flew up like a pile of mud and hit the railing of the arena. Then she bounced back. All the bones in her body were broken in an instant. At this point in time, Luo Xinning could not even make a sound. I'm giving you this kick on behalf of my grandfather. Luo Qingtong walked in front of Luo Xinning and looked at her coldly. Luo Xinning, without my grandfather there would be no Luo family. Your family enjoyed the convenience and glory of the Luo family, but you poisoned him and forced him to disperse his cultivation. I will settle all these debts with you one by one. As she spoke, the blood in her eyes flashed uncontrollably. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Luo Qingtong bent down and whispered in Luo Xinning's ear. You colluded with outsiders to attack the Luo family, and almost caused my grandfather to die. Luo Xinning, you can't make up for all these crimes even if you die 10,000 times. Luckily, you have found a home for yourself. Don't worry, the bandits you found last night are waiting for you at the Luo family. When the time comes, you can enjoy whatever you want. I won't interfere. As Luo Qingtong spoke, she grabbed Luo Xinning's chin and stuffed a pill that she had refined into Luo Xinning's mouth without waiting for her to speak. This pill could allow Luo Xinning to maintain her fair and smooth skin under all kinds of torture. However, the price was that her entire body was in pain as if her skin was being peeled off. This kind of pain was enough to make people faint countless times. Didn't Luo Xining want to scratch Luo Qingtong's face and sell her to the lowest level brothel to serve the most disgusting customers? Luo Qingtong fulfilled her wish and let her enjoy the arrangement herself. Not only that, it also allowed her to possess jade-like skin and appearance, allowing her to attract even more customers. She would just treat it as a show of their deep sisterly love. Ah! The moment the pill entered her mouth, an intense pain engulfed her. Luo Xining could not take it anymore. She screamed and fainted. Take her away! Luo Qingtong kicked Luo Xining, who was like a pile of mud, out of the arena. In an instant, a battle slave expert hiding in the dark appeared and caught him. Stop! At this moment, Elder Chu and the others finally regained their senses. They did not expect Luo Qingtong to be so fast. She actually crippled Luo Xining in the blink of an eye. When Luo Xining used her family heirloom armor, they thought that Luo Qingtong was going to be in trouble. Unexpectedly, the one who was defeated in the end was Luo Xining. And Luo Qingtong's methods were so vicious. Looking at Luo Xining's deformed appearance, many people felt a chill down their spines. Among them, Elder Chu felt it the most. He and Luo Qingtong had a feud to begin with. Chapter 380. Bam! He slammed the table and stood up. Luo Qingtong, you've gone too far. This is a place for the entrance examination, not a place for your life and death battle. How could you be so heavy-handed during the assessment? You're really vicious and unbearable. Hurry up and give yourself up. As he spoke, his eyes flashed fiercely, and he charged towards Luo Qingtong. Luo Qingtong's first-place qualification was not something that Elder Chu could arbitrarily remove. However, Elder Chu was unwilling to let someone who had a grudge against him enter Tianyu Branch School. Luo Qingtong had been so heavy-handed towards Luo Xining, who knew if she held a grudge against him, this was a good opportunity to cripple her in the name of being heavy-handed. By then he could say that it was an accident. Who could do anything about it? As he thought about it, Elder Chu's expression became even more vicious. His attack towards Luo Qingtong was also extremely vicious. Elder Chu. Seeing his actions, the other two tutors were shocked. They wanted to stop him but failed to do so. They immediately chased after him. Below the arena, Old Master Chu was so angry that his lungs were about to explode when he saw this. Shameless! As a tutor, how dare you attack a student who is participating in the assessment? As he spoke, he suddenly stood up from his seat and rushed into the arena in a flash. He stood in front of Luo Qingtong. Luo girl, don't be afraid. I'll stop him. As he spoke, he charged towards Elder Chu. Grandpa Chu! Luo Qingtong shouted. Seeing that Old Master Chu had already rushed up, she immediately waved at the novice martial emperor, who was preparing to attack in the dark. The latter understood and went back into hiding. Grandpa Chu, you can do it. Seeing that Old Master Chu was charging towards Elder Chu, Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed. She instantly saw through Elder Chu's weaknesses and the flaws in his attack. She glanced at Old Master Chu again. Following that, two silent auras instantly struck out. With a swoosh, Luo Qingtong's two blasts of energy hit Old Master Chu from behind, but they didn't injure him. One of the two forces struck Old Master Chu's elbow while the other struck his wrist. The two forces supported and suppressed each other. Old Master Chu felt his elbow lift for no apparent reason as his wrist suddenly pressed down. Boom! The attack in his hand flew out. It was much stronger than the attacks he had unleashed in the past. Not only that, bang! His attack collided with Old Chu's attack, and surprisingly, the other party's energy chi was broken apart. Before Old Master Chu could react, Elder Chu was instantly sent flying by the remaining force of the strike. He slammed into the railing of the arena with a boom. The whole place was silent. Even the Chu family members, who were sweating profusely from anxiety, were stunned. Everyone looked at Old Master Chu, who had sent Elder Chu flying, with indescribable shock. Oh my God! Were they dreaming? Old Master Chu, who was a peak martial lord, sent Elder Chu, who was a novice soul king, flying? Was this some sort of fantasy story? The sky wasn't even dark yet. The eldest Chu pinched his thigh so hard that he cried out in pain. Only then did he confirm that he wasn't dreaming. Oh my God! Since when did father become so powerful? He looked at old Master Chu in disbelief. The latter was still in a daze. That move just now had given him a fright. He had never used such a powerful move before. Chapter 381. Was this a perfect display of power? Old Man Chu's jaw dropped. After practicing the Chu family's ultimate move for so long, he was finally able to unleash it to perfection? But if he were to try it again, he wouldn't be able to do it again. Old Man Chu was still in a daze when Luo Qingtong rushed in front of him. Grandpa Chu, you're amazing. She gave him a thumbs up. You were able to defeat an early-stage Soul King. Haha. No, I was just lucky. Old Man Chu didn't know what was going on, but he was the one who sent Old Man Chu flying. He only said that Old Man Chu had bad intentions and bad luck. He just happened to see him unleash a perfect display of power. However, what was with his attack? It was like a piece of tofu that broke with a single poke. Old Man Chu couldn't figure it out. Could it be that Old Man Chu, the head examiner of the Tianyu Academy, was just a useless person? He had the strength of an early-stage Soul King, but he wasn't strong enough at all? If Old Man Chu knew what Old Man Chu was thinking, he would have jumped up in anger. Why couldn't he do it? Someone had clearly seen through the weakness of his attack. Old Man Chu. The other two instructors rushed over and helped Old Man Chu up from the ground. Old Man Chu shook off their hands and glared at Old Man Chu. What kind of trick did you use? How could his attack be broken so easily? Old Man Chu had taken a heavy blow because he didn't think highly of Old Man Chu. If he hadn't activated his defenses in time, he wouldn't have been able to stand up. Who used a trick? Old Man Chu sneered at him. Old Man Chu, you should watch your words in front of everyone. You're the one who used a trick when you attacked a student as an instructor. Luo Qingtong used too much force. She's not someone who's kind to others. I'm teaching her a lesson. Otherwise, how will I explain myself to others if I use such a heavy hand when sparring with my fellow students in the academy? He glared at Luo Qingtong as he spoke. Luo Qingtong, since you are the future wife of the 5th prince of the Tianyu Empire, I will give you a chance. Release Luo Xinning now and kneel down to apologize. Then, I will not pursue the crime of you attacking too heavily today. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Elder Chu was aggressive. He knew that Luo Qingtong had hurt Luo Xinning because of the grudge between them, but he deliberately did not mention it. He only used the fact that Luo Qingtong had used too much force when she was sparring with her fellow disciples. He insisted that Luo Qingtong release Luo Xinning and kneel down to apologize. This was an extremely vicious move. If Luo Qingtong compromised, she would have to endure the humiliation and release her enemy, Luo Xinning. If he didn't compromise, he would have a reason to attack again. As for Luo Qingtong, it would be even better if she gave up first place and refused to enter the Tianyu branch. Since he wasn't a student of the academy and had even stripped the previous champion, he had all the more reason to make a move. What's wrong with ruining Luo Qingtong's chance to enter the Tianyu branch? Thinking of this, Elder Chu looked at Luo Qingtong gloomily. Elder Chu, you've gone too far. The other two instructors disagreed. Elder Chu was obviously using his position to avenge a personal grudge. The two instructors had heard about the incident between Luo Qingtong and Luo Xinning in the Wingay city. It was not Luo Qingtong's fault at all. Chapter 382. Humph. You don't have to say anything more. Luo Qingtong was so ruthless in the entrance examination that she crippled a student who had already been selected. We can't let this go. Elder Chu refused to back down. He looked at Luo Qingtong coldly and said, Luo Qingtong, do you admit your mistake or not? Elder Chu, I don't understand. Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and looked at him. It was Luo Xinning who tried to kill me first. As her teacher, shouldn't you be the one to apologize to me on her behalf? Otherwise, why should I apologize? Elder Chu flew into a rage the moment he heard Luo Qingtong's words. How dare you? You have no respect for your elders and are full of nonsense. Luo Qingtong, since you won't admit your mistake today, I'll force you to admit your mistake. He glanced at the two mentors beside him and shouted angrily, Holy pen touch! Spirit, show yourself. Elder Chu. The other two mentors were shocked and furious at his words. How dare you touch the spirit of the holy object? They didn't expect Elder Chu to use the spirit of the pen touch just to deal with Luo Qingtong. This was the spirit of the holy pen touch. The holy pen touch was the treasure of the Saint Academy. It was said that anyone below the Saint Realm would die with a touch of it. Even a Saint Realm cultivator would be seriously injured by a touch of it. The mentors who went out to recruit students were all given a spirit of the holy pen touch to protect them. Although it wasn't as powerful as the real holy pen touch, it was enough to deal with ordinary high-level cultivators. But now, Elder Chu used it just for a student who had won the first place in the entrance examination. He actually used the spirit of the holy pen touch to deal with her. He had gone too far. Boom. With Elder Chu's shout, a huge spirit of the pen touch appeared in front of everyone. As soon as the spirit of the pen touch appeared, everyone felt the pressure of the spiritual aura around them change. A boundless and terrifying pressure was emitted from the spirit of the pen touch. Whoosh. When the pen spirit body was activated, Yi Qianming, who was soaking in the medicinal liquid in the black field, suddenly opened his eyes. Wow. The Shifeng dragon ring on his left ring finger gave off a black light. Saint Realm aura. Is that woman in danger? In an instant, Yi Qianming's heart moved. Following the connection between the 10 Directions dragon ring and the 9 Nether Phoenix ring, a wisp of his mind instantly appeared in the consciousness space of the 9 Nether Phoenix ring and merged with the divided soul. In the outside world, everyone was instantly suppressed on the spot by the sudden appearance of the holy brush spirit, and they were unable to move at all. Among them were the 2 instructors from the branch academy. Old Chu, you're too much. Release the power of the brush spirit. A mentor reprimanded angrily. Humph. I am here to discipline the students on behalf of the academy. You have no right to interfere with me. The 2 mentors were enough to stop Old Chu from attacking Luo Qingtong. He had already planned this out, which was why he released the pen spirit body to suppress the 2 mentors. Humph. Let's see who can stop me from attacking Luo Qingtong now. Everyone was bound on the spot, including Luo Qingtong. However, she could feel that the life and death sword and the 9-story exquisite pagoda in her body were not affected. Obviously, the level of these 2 treasures was much higher than the holy brush spirit body. Just as the bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed, and she was about to use her mind to summon the life and death sword. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.